All right, we should be live. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Had to finish editing a video and you know how things go. But welcome, welcome. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody has a good extended weekend, rather. I know that this is a long weekend for a lot of people. So, yeah. May as well start the week off strong, right? Plug in my phone. Oops. Do. Howdy, howdy. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, just checking some comments. Oop, that's me. It is not a hexagon. I promise you, it's not a hexagon. I promise it's not a hexagon. No, you may not work on a character with me. That's not what this live stream is here for. All right, let's bring up our first guest. Actually, let me just write down something really quick. I promise that's not what this is here for. Let's talk to Death Prune Fan. Sorry, I can't talk. Prune, how's it going?
All right, pal.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, man.
Why are you doing a voice?
I'm no man. I'm from Glasgow, man.
Really?
Aye.
What's the population of Scotland?
Don't ask me, man.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. All right, let's talk to Top Geese. Top Geese, how's it going?
Good. Just saying a lot of content. Nothing else. Bye.
Okay, well, thanks for being here. Let's talk to Ryan.
Hello?
Ryan, how's it going?
It's going good. The Earth is on the back of a turtle. It's called the world turtle.
Okay, thanks for being here, Ryan. Let's bring up Chunky. Chunky, how's it going?
My wife left me at 47.
Okay, Chunky. Whatever you say, Chunky. Well, we'll let some people trickle in. We'll actually get some real people who actually believe that the Earth is flat eventually. What's wrong with the mic today? Is my mic not good today? My mic should be correct. Yeah, no, the mic's correct. Okay. Maybe Flat Earth really is dead. Maybe it is. Oh, I'm a little chilly. Put on the jacket. You ever heard of some dude named Caleb? Yeah, he was a Nazi, or he was or is a Nazi. We need Shane in here. Shane would never enter this live stream. He's too cowardly. Oh, it would be so good though. It'd be so good if Shane showed up, or if Sheldon showed up. Whatsit doesn't do flat Earth stuff anymore. He has retreated. All right, let's talk to Tamiz. Tamiz? Times. Times, how's it going?
Wait. I just need to say something. Someone in the comments
Times,
or
what shape do you
chat
think the
said.
Earth is?
Wait. Someone in the comments said being.
Nope. It's not what this is for. Sorry. Not what this is for. What does that sound? Oh. What is it? Okay. Oh, I found a spare phone charger. Weird. Okay. Let's talk to Brother Dino. Brother Dino, how's it
Hello.
going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, brother. Do you prefer Gino or brother, or what would you prefer?
Just Gino. It's whatever you.
Gino. Okay, Gino. What shape do you think the Earth is?
It's a oblate spheroid.
Okay, well then why'd you hop up?
Oh, real fast, because the flat Earth. Here's my question about it, though. Isn't it
Wait,
technically?
why'd you join if you didn't think the Earth is flat?
Well, because isn't it still technically flat because half of the Earth is like the sky?
No. Also, how would that make the Earth flat? What? What would that even mean? What? What? Okay. Half of the Earth is the sky. You got me there. I've been had. I've been bamboozled. I've been kerfuffled. Actually, now might be a good time to try to... Oh, never mind. We have a guest. Nope, maybe not. Now might be a good time to try to see if I can work out... Never mind. We have another guest. I can't even be mad. I can't even be mad. He gets me every time. Red White, how's it going?
Hi.
What would you prefer I call you?
Red.
All right, Red. Red, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's round, if I'm being honest. I'm just coming there because no one else is.
Well, you're not welcome. Oh, wait a minute. This is first century Christian, isn't it? First century, you think that the Earth is round. Why are you here?
Well, you know, I don't have any direct evidence that it's not flat.
You don't have any
In
direct
my
evidence
personal
that it's not
experience,
flat?
it
Do you have
appears
any
to be
direct
flat.
Do you have any direct evidence that like there's not a teapot orbiting Jupiter?
I think we have different models. I just don't have any personal evidence.
You didn't answer my question. Do you have any evidence that we don't have a teapot orbiting Jupiter?
It is possible.
Okay. Do you believe it?
I have not observed all of the Jupiter.
That wasn't my question. Do you believe it?
What is the point of your question?
Do you believe that there is a teapot orbiting Jupiter because we don't have direct evidence that says otherwise?
Well, you know, I think what is the direct proof that the Earth is a sphere?
Can you answer my question?
Yes, I did. I said, I don't know.
Well, so you either believe it or you don't believe it.
Well, what do you mean? I think
You
it's a
either
false
bel-
choice. I just don't know.
It's a true dichotomy. I mean, like if you don't know, then it sounds like you don't believe it.
If I don't know, I just don't know. I mean, I believe it's a different thing.
Well, so you
It's-
either believe it, which is like a state of affair, like you hold a certain attitude that that a certain proposition is true, or you don't believe it, which means you don't hold that attitude.
Right. I don't believe that the Earth is known to us.
Okay, and you don't believe that the lack of a teapot in orbiting Jupiter is known to us as well, right?
Well, I think it's we cannot disprove that it's possible.
Okay, well, if your standard of evidence is that we can't disprove it, well, A, I mean, we can regarding the shape of the Earth, but B, that's not the standard of evidence that we use for anything else. So I'm going to let you go for a Century Christian. But thank you for being here. We do have some super chats. Let me read them and then we'll bring up our next guest. From Dwayne Warren, thank you so much, Dwayne. If Earth weren't spherical, how would gravity, ocean, satellites, and GPS still agree? Which law of physics would fail first? That's one of the issues. They don't have an explanation for how they all agree or why they all agree. Usually it's that there's some sort of conspiracy, but they usually don't have an explanation. From Jack Fetter with the $5, FYI, Witsbit still does flat Earth. He isn't able to sufficiently grift non-flat Earth, so he keeps coming back. He's grifting in Mom's basement now. Oh, is he really? I heard from Jeranism that he's not really doing it anymore, but it's unfortunate if he is. All right, let's talk to Cheesy. Cheesy, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm on a cheap phone, so I don't know if you can hear me very good.
Your audio is just fine. Cheesy, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Flat.
Okay. Want to tell me why?
I've just been doing research on it for some years, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, I'm open to like, you know, your arguments or whatever, but it's just there's too many things that don't make sense, and it goes as far back as the early 1900s. So like the very first time that the globe Earth was shown to people was the Universal Studios, the globe that they showed, and that was in 1920.
You think that was the first time that people had seen like the Earth as a globe before?
That's the first time that it was shown publicly to everyone, like
Can I show you
on
something?
like TV. Like,
Well,
yeah, sure, go
so
ahead.
TV didn't exist before the 1900s. It didn't exist till like the 1950s
No, I said
or
early
40s.
1900s. It was like the 19. It was like 1920.
Well, so there were movies.
Something.
There just wasn't TV. But like, of course, it's not going to be shown on TV if TV didn't exist. So what's the contention here?
That was before anybody had even gone to outer space. So when Admiral Byrd,
maybe I'm just a little confused. Like, what's the contention here? Do you think that like people didn't think that the Earth was a globe before the 1900s?
No, they did. They did.
Then what does that have, so then what does showing people that, you know, a picture of a globe on a screen have to do with anything?
That because what I'm saying is nobody went to outer space to even see what it looked like. It was just a guess. And
you don't need to go to outer space to know the shape of the Earth.
Okay, right. So
it's not really required. Like it, you know, if you want to see it with your own eyes, then like going to outer space is like a good thing to do. But like that's not what's required in order to know what shape the Earth is.
Okay, but here's my point. Okay, here's my point. So that was shown in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. NASA didn't even come out until I think the 1950s.
NASA was formed in the 50s, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 1950 something. But so they hadn't even. Okay, I'm getting off track. So when Admiral Byrd did his expedition and went on TV and did that interview talking about what he saw past Antarctica, all that.
Yeah, what did he say? Do you remember what he said?
He said that there was lands the size of the United States that were past Antarctica.
Yes, he did. Can I show you a map? Or can I show you a picture? Just a picture. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is.
There's so many points that I could get into on this, though.
Well, we'll go one at a time. That's not in English. Sorry, one sec. Let me find something in English for you. I want to make sure that it's high enough resolution that you can read it. Where's the original? One sec. Here, it should be here. Okay. One moment. Okay. So, the South Pole, can you see this all right?
Yeah, I can see it.
So the South Pole is that red dot in the middle. Admiral Byrd was flying basically southeast from the north. He was flying roughly, if I remember correctly, he was flying roughly from here this way. And so by the time he got to the South Pole, there was still an amount of land roughly equal in size to the United States beyond where he was.
Okay.
So Little America is this little dot here. He said there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being, and that's beyond the pole, right? That's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Little America. So here's Little America. On the other side of the South Pole is all of this land, which is roughly the size of the United States. So this doesn't say anything about there being like hidden land, right? This is just like the other half of the continent.
I see what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense to me just based on what, because he said Antarctica. He didn't. It wasn't like they had to have known.
Wait, this is a quote. Like this is a quote from him, right? This is the quote that you're referring to. This is the thing that he says.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on from that, like still on the same topic, but so shortly after he came on and did that interview, said all that, he dies. And then shortly after he dies, NASA is created. And then, so fast forward after NASA gets created, I don't know.
People die sometimes.
I don't know exactly the order of these events, but Operation Fishbowl, where they sent nukes up into the sky to try to blow up the dome.
That was the 50s? Is that what you think that they were trying to do?
Yeah, that's literally
Operation Fishbowl was in 1962, which was after NASA was formed.
Right.
So do you have any sources that make the claim that they were trying to blow up the dome?
I've seen a couple different things, but I can't like really think about it off the top of my head.
To be clear, I think it's probably more evidence, or it's more likely rather. Saying there's more evidence is not good English. It's more likely that they were just testing high altitude nuclear weapons because they didn't know how they behaved in the upper atmosphere, right? I don't know why we would think that they're trying to blow up the dome.
See, I think it's all, hold on. Okay, so there was Operation Fishbowl, Operation High Jump. Operation High Jump was when they were, I'm pretty sure that was when they were trying to get over the wall in Antarctica.
So, do you know what Operation High Jump is?
I don't exactly. That's why I said
So then,
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so then why are you saying what it is if you don't know what it is? So Operation High Jump was about establishing an Antarctic research base in Little America, actually. This was the thing that was organized by Admiral Byrd.
So why did, like, okay, so if we're at war, like, with all these other countries, why did every country come together?
What countries were we at war with?
I'm saying,
1946, say. What countries were we at war with in 1946?
No, listen. How can we have an Antarctic peace treaty with every organization and it be peace there? But we're at war with other. Yeah, we have
the Antarctic Treaty has like 50 something countries that signed it out of like 190.
But nobody can go there. Like
Yeah, you can. You can just go there.
You can go there with on a cruise ship that goes to a little piece of Antarctica. And then
you can just go there. People do it all the time. In fact, there were 4 flat earthers who went there not this past December, but the December of 2024.
There's only, like I said, there's only specific areas that you can go.
You can go to basically everywhere. There are a few places that are controlled because there's research there. But like I can actually show you a map of where the forbidden regions are in Antarctica, and it's a very, very tiny segment. Let me show you. One sec.
There's also another point on the article.
So, are you? Look, it's kind of frustrating that like I keep bringing up things and then you're like, nah, I'll just move on and not acknowledge what you said. What I said was wrong. And then you just keep doing that over and over again, rather than actually addressing anything that I'm saying.
There's so many things that don't make sense. There's so many things that
Right,
don't make
but it
sense.
sounds like you haven't actually looked into this.
I have a lot, actually.
But then why haven't you looked into what Admiral Byrd actually said? Why haven't you looked into what Operation Fishbowl was? Why haven't you looked into what the Antarctic Treaty is? Like,
it's not accurate.
Well, you didn't know that only like 50-odd countries signed the Antarctic Treaty, not all of the countries. You didn't know that Operation Fishbowl was about testing high-altitude nuclear weapons. You didn't know that Admiral Byrd was actually talking about land on the other side of the pole from Little America. Like, you didn't know these things.
It's just like, like I said, there's so many things. What about all the pilots that say that...
Actually, Cheesy, let me ask you something. Why is it that flights in the Northern Hemisphere and flights in the Southern Hemisphere can be basically identical if the Earth is flat and the Southern Hemisphere is on the outside of the Northern Hemisphere?
I don't understand your question.
I'll show you. Let me show you a Gleason map. You familiar with the Gleason map?
Yeah, I am, actually.
Okay. You know, I really just need to find a high-resolution version of this thing, because I always end up taking... Okay, found a good one. Right, so this is the Gleason map, right? This is the one you're familiar with?
Yep.
Okay, so on this map, if you wanted to fly from, say, New York, which is right around here, to Japan, which is right around here, it would be, you know, you would fly roughly over Russia, and then you would, if you wanted to take a direct path anyway, you would fly roughly over Russia, and then you would land there, right? And if you wanted to fly from Santiago, Chile, which is down here, to Sydney, Australia, which is up here, you would have to fly all the way there, right? All the way across. Yep. And so like flying from Santiago to Sydney should be more than twice as long. It should take way longer to get there because it's way further away, right?
Okay.
And furthermore, when you leave Santiago, you should actually end up flying a little bit north. You should fly northwest because northwest is, or north is towards the center and west is this way. So if you're flying to Chile, you should end up flying northwest, right? So now let me show you some flight paths, okay? So there is AA-167, which is a flight that flies from New York to Santiago, or from New York to Tokyo, flies every day. It takes about 13 hours. Sorry, let me make this smaller so you can see. It takes about 13 hours. It flies from New York to Tokyo basically every day, right? And it doesn't fly in exactly the route that you'd like. If, like I said, you might want it to fly directly over Russia, but currently the United States is in a geopolitical conflict with Russia. So the flight is a little bit distorted. Notice how it's kind of lumpy. It would want to fly like this way, but it doesn't. It wants to avoid Russian airspace. So it's a little bit lumpy, but fine. That's the flight path from New York to Tokyo. Now let's look at QF-28. QF-28 is a flight that flies from Santiago to Sydney every day, right? This is the flight path. And what you'll notice is that, first of all, they fly southwest first, rather than flying northwest. Second of all, you'll see that it only takes like an hour and a half longer to fly from Santiago to Sydney compared with New York to Tokyo. And in fact, if you look at the flight paths and compare them, it's just, you'll see that they're basically mirror images of each other. Again, the New York flight path is a little bit lopsided because they want to avoid Russian airspace, but they're basically mirror images of each other, just one in the north and one in the south. So if it's the case that the Earth is shaped like this, why is it that the flight paths are basically the same, the time of flight is basically the same, and they're symmetrical across the equator? That seems like that can't be explained.
I don't know how to, I don't know exactly how to answer that.
But I imagine it would have been something that you would have run into in all of your time researching this, right?
All the emergency landings. What about all that?
What about which emergency landings? Tell me about it.
There's like 14 or 15 examples, but
Okay,
I
from
can't
where to
pull
where?
out a picture for you.
So
Huh?
there's actually a really common one that people bring up, which is from Shanghai to Los Angeles. And they say, why did it emergency stop in Alaska? Is this one you've heard of?
I've heard, yeah, I've heard of pretty much all of them. So yeah, if you could show me.
So let's
on
look
that.
at, let's go to Google Earth, where we can draw some straight lines on a big globe. Okay, so you might think, let's go back to this picture really quick. You might think that if you're trying to fly from Shanghai, or say Beijing, let's just say Beijing to Los Angeles, that you would just fly there, you just fly across, and Hawaii is roughly there. So you might think that if you're going to do an emergency landing, you would connect in Hawaii, rather than swinging all the way up to Alaska, right? And then coming down to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And that would be true if the Earth were flat. However, or if the Earth were flat in this way, like the Mercator projection. However, if we go look at an actual globe, or at least a model of a globe, I'm just going to draw some straight lines. So we start with, where's Beijing? Here's Beijing. Oops. Drop a point at Beijing. We're going to go all the way over to Los Angeles, and we're going to draw a straight line connecting them. So see, this is a straight line. See how it's straight? Connecting Beijing, that's where Beijing is, to Los Angeles, as we've already established. Oop, the whole thing rotated, sorry. Now let's zoom in and look, where does this path take us near? Takes us right next to Alaska. And so it's totally sensible that they would actually stop over in Alaska if they needed to do an emergency landing, because they were basically flying right over Alaska. So, and in fact, what you'll find is that next time you look up some weird emergency landing that a flat earther tells you about, what you'll find is that, oh, if you just plot the original location and the the departing location and the destination on a globe, and then actually connect them with a straight line, the emergency landing actually makes sense. So it seems like all of the flight paths that you could ever imagine don't really work, generally, on a flat Earth, at least in the southern hemisphere, and they always work on a globe. Shouldn't that make you think?
It works both ways, though, if you think
it doesn't work in the southern hemisphere. Like I said, the flight from Santiago to Sydney, Australia, wherever it is, Sydney, Australia, it should fly south first. On a globe, it flies south and then swings up north again, which is exactly what the flight actually does. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to be showing you this. If we connect Santiago to Sydney, Australia, again, we have a straight line, and it swings south first. It goes southwest, and then it swings up until it goes northwest. And that's exactly what the flight actually does. This is a real flight that you can book real tickets for. It swings southwest, and then it swings up northwest. On a flat Earth, that should never happen. On a flat Earth, it should be going northwest, and then it should be going southwest. And it should take more than twice as long as it takes to go from New York to Tokyo, but it just doesn't. It seems like the flat Earth has some answering to do.
The globe Earth is pretty much just the flat Earth flattened out. Like if you take your hand and put it at the top of the globe and flatten it out on the table, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So, by the way, your mic just got really quiet. So the map that you're looking at, you're fine. The Gleason map is what happens if you take the flat Earth, or if you take the globe Earth, you remove Antarctica, or rather you remove the central bit of Antarctica, and then you just smear it out. But what it does is it distorts it, which is why Australia on the flat Earth map is bigger than the United States. It's why Brazil is bigger than the United States. It's why Argentina is bigger than the United States. In reality, these places are not bigger than the United States. However, because the flat Earth is actually a distortion of the globe, it's going to distort the sizes and shapes of these countries. And it's going to distort the flight paths as well.
But like Greenland. I said the globe Earth does the same thing.
The globe does not distort the size of Greenland. Look. Here's Greenland in actual size. This is the size of Greenland relative to the United States. Now, you might complain that the Mercator projection, this is the Mercator projection. The Mercator projection, like this one, this absolutely distorts the size of Greenland. But this is not a globe
so
map.
how do you know which one's right and which one's wrong with like the globe Earth stuff too?
We can measure the size of continents on the ground. You can, for example, What?
I understand that, but
so then we can test.
like,
we can figure out which map is correct by measuring the size of continents.
But if you look at 3 or 4 different maps of the globe,
no, there's only one globe. The globe is this. Everything else is distorted, right? Because a globe can never be squished into a flat map without distorting something. This is the globe. Everything else is a distorted map. The Mercator projection, this is distorted. The flat Earth, this is distorted. Because it's not actually flat, it's actually a globe, and you can't create a map of something that's a globe without distorting it if you want to make it like 2-dimensional and flat. It's just not possible.
So I got a couple videos on my TikTok right now of one of them being that there's some ex-NASA employees that are literally saying that the Earth's flat and talking about it. See, I don't know. I'd have to.
You have a video on your TikTok. How do you not know who they are?
I posted it forever ago. I just started getting back on my TikTok recently, but I posted it a long time ago. I'd have to look, but it was one girl from Lockheed Martin and another guy, but it was the girl from Lockheed Martin that was talking about it. And I got another video.
So we should just believe like some random person rather than like the data that we can gather ourselves?
Okay, like
because like we can just check this, right? Like, look, somebody's done this drive. You can drive around Australia. There's roads that take you the entire way around Australia, right? And there's a particular chunk of Australia that's pretty flat. When I say flat, I mean straight, not like flat. I mean like the road is straight. But it's roughly almost 15,000 kilometers to drive all the way around Australia, right? And so what we can do is we can just go onto a globe, onto like this globe, and we can just approximate it. So we're going to avoid that little thing that's sticking out, the little thing up here, and then we're going to take a dip down. But otherwise, it's basically something like this. It's going to be off a little bit because, you know, I'm just kind of outlining it. There we go. So this says that I just drew 11,000 kilometers. Now, the actual drive distance is like 14,000. There's like a little bit that I missed going up here, and then I wasn't following the actual outline perfectly, so it's going to be a little bit less. But if we compare that to the Gleason map, if we take the Gleason map, I'm going to snip this and we'll do some measurements.
You need to do the same thing with Antarctica.
We can, but you know, I don't think anybody's driven around Antarctica in its entirety. So
but it says it's pretty much it's the circumference of the Earth is what you'll find.
Well, we can talk about that in a minute, but we're going to do this for Australia really quick. So here I just took the Gleason map. I just took a snip. So we have a line. I'm just going to draw a line here. That line is how long is it? Why won't it actually give me the length of the line? That's annoying. I know that there's a measuring. Is there a measuring tool in? I could open up GIMP, but it would take a long time to open up because that software takes forever. So this line here, we'll just draw one and then we'll do the math. So this line is 60 pixels left and right and 55 pixels up and down. And so we can just square them and then add them. We'll use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out how long the distance is. So it's 55 squared plus 3600, because that's 60 pixels. And then we're going to take the square root of this. So that line is 81 pixels long, right? Now, if we do the same thing down here to go from, say, Los Angeles to New York, that line is, let's figure that out. It's 62 pixels long. So this is to say, oops, the line here that we just drew, this one, is further than it is to go from Los Angeles to New York. And so we would have at least 2 of those lines for our path. And then we would have another roughly 2 times worth of distance to travel if you were driving around Australia. Now, the distance from Los Angeles to New York is 2,789 miles. We want it in kilometers. Give it to me in kilometers. About 4,000 kilometers. So just those 2 lines should account for 2/3 of the entire distance around Australia if the flat Earth map was correct, because we know that it takes 14,000 miles to go around Australia. But also those 2 lines don't account for 2/3 of the way around Australia, because we still have all of these other paths that we would have to take. And so the flat Earth map just gets the number wrong as to the size of continents, whereas the globe gets it correct. So
okay,
I don't know how you can like continue to believe this.
Talking about numbers, okay, if you're talking about numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about, okay, all right. So water doesn't ever curve, ever.
Okay, so are you going to address anything that I just said?
I'm moving on because there's no point.
You're moving on because you don't know how to address it?
No, because there's just no point. I know you're going to have something else to say about like
there's no
what
point
I say
because it's true?
No, it's going back and forth, so there's no point. So
it's not going back and forth. You didn't say anything. It was just me telling you that the numbers are wrong, and then you changed the topic because the numbers are wrong and you don't have any way to respond to it.
Because there's a lot of numbers with the globe Earth that's wrong too, man.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, so any of the huge river systems like the Nile River, the Mississippi River, all those, okay?
Okay,
those
what numbers are wrong? What numbers are wrong in the globe Earth?
Listen.
I'm listening.
So they're miles and miles and miles, like thousands of miles long. I don't know exactly how long they are, okay? But if you think about that and think about how the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be 8 inches per mile squared. So for the first mile, it should be 8 inches. The next mile, it's eight inches squared. So that's like 32 inches or whatever. So then just continue on. It should be hundreds of miles below the surface. But
what should be hundreds of miles below the surface?
The start of Mississippi River and then the other side of the Mississippi River. There should be a huge curve right there.
Well, there is a curve. It's just following the curve of the Earth.
No, it's not.
So what number doesn't work?
Because the water is flat. The water is flat.
That's an assertion. Do you have any evidence that that's true?
Do you have any evidence to disprove that? Because
yeah, I mean, we have like pictures from space of water being curved.
You can't go to space and take a picture.
I mean, that's an assertion. So if I show you a picture, will you just say it's fake?
Probably.
Okay. Will you have evidence that it's fake? Wait a minute, hold on. Actually, Cheesy, let's back up. Let's back up. Why would you say that you could assert that something is fake without even seeing the picture first?
Because any picture that you look up from space is either fake or got a fisheye lens.
How do you know it's fake? If you haven't even seen it, if you haven't even seen the picture that I'm referring to, how do you know it's fake?
Because I've seen independent hot air balloon riders go up 100,000 feet up in the sky.
No, you haven't, because hot air balloon riders would die 100,000 feet up in the sky.
They show the horizon. It goes up to eye level no matter how high you go.
How do you test if it goes up to eye level?
Because I've seen multiple.
Wait, so how
videos.
do you know that the horizon actually went to eye level?
Because it shows it.
Wait a minute. So you know that you can just point your camera at the horizon and then it'll be in the middle of the camera. That doesn't mean that it's actually at eye level.
There's so many videos that NASA's put out.
Why did I show you something? Why did I show you something that was done by a? Why did I show you something that was done by an amateur? Completely privately done. Let me show you something that was completely privately done. It was done by an amateur. It wasn't involved with. NASA wasn't involved at all. They used a camera specifically that didn't have a fisheye lens. They modified the camera so it no longer had the fisheye effect. They did a rectilinear they used a modified rectilinear lens, which is non-fisheye. Let me show you. So this is a video, or this is a rocket launch done by Kip Dargadas. You can see his name here. It's called the Mesos rocket launch. Now, the whole thing is filmed. Here's a whole bunch of details. Here's a whole bunch of details. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to skip forward to the actual launch. And the whole thing, we have video of the whole thing, no cuts, as viewed from the rocket the entire time. So that's another camera view. Here's another camera view. We'll get to the actual main camera view in a sec. Okay, here's the actual camera on the rocket. Now I'm going to speed it up a little bit just because otherwise it'll take a while. So here it's going up. It's spinning because that's how it's stabilizing. It's 35,000 feet up in the air.
Pause it.
We'll pause it when it gets to its highest altitude. It's 100,000 feet up in the air. This thing gets almost 300,000 feet up in the air. Almost there. $200,000 feet up in the air. Starting to look awfully curved, isn't it?
No. No.
Okay. We'll see what you have to say in a minute. 250,000 feet up in the air. That looked awfully curved. That looked awfully curved. But we'll pause it in a sec once we get to 300,000. Sorry. That look curved to you? We can keep playing it.
Give me 1 second. Go, man. I was doing something. Go back.
Okay, sorry, 1 sec. We'll let it stabilize again. Here's peak altitude, by the way, 293,000 feet. So you know what we can do? We can just snip it, and then we can go into paint, and we can see if it's straight. This is the snip, right? I just grabbed the screenshot, and I'm just going to draw a straight line connecting. Oh, look at that. It's curved. Like, what do you make of that?
It's the only one I've seen that's like that. Like, swear to God. Like, there's been so many different things I've seen that literally shows no curve.
Okay, well, this one shows curve, and this one used a verified non-rectilinear lens. It was a rocket launch from launch up to apogee, so there were no cuts, there was no editing. This is privately done, so there's no NASA involvement at all. This seems like the best evidence that's available for this, and it shows a curve. What do you think?
I mean, I'll never stop thinking it's flat.
Your mic just died off again.
I said I'll never stop thinking it's flat, but I respect your opinion. I gotta go because my phone's about to die.
All right, put on your running shoes. It's fine. Of course he had to run. Of course he had to run. When challenged with actual evidence that completely destroys his worldview, he's like, nope, I'll never think it's flat, or I'll never think it's a globe, because, you know, the evidence just hurts my feelings, hurts my worldview. All right, let's read some super chats and we'll bring up our next guest. From Mechaneering with the $10. Thank you so much, Mechaneering. Unrelated, but do you have any tips for grant applications? I got approved for my independent study on the moons of Jupiter, but I need about $4,000 in equipment. I love your vids and rip Flat Earth. No. Although, yeah, I mean, like, I've written a successful grant before, but only one, and I don't know, like, what about it was that was successful. So I don't really have a whole lot of helpful tools there, helpful tips there, sorry. It's not something I have expertise in. From Unfornicated with the $2. I'm getting whiplash from the number of subject changes. Yeah, I know. That's what flat earthers like to do. They like to keep dodging and pivoting. From a Dwayne Warren with the $2. Looking and comprehending are 2 steps. Indeed it is. You can lead a flat earther to the globe, but you can't force them to understand, right? From oh no, it's that guy with the $2. Thank you so much. And I think that is it. Let me just double check that I didn't miss any super chats or, you know, cash apps or anything. All right, that's it. Let's move on to our next guest. Let's talk to the 152.
Yep.
The 152, how's it going?
It's going good.
Glad to hear it. 152, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's flat.
All right, want to tell me why?
All right. So I'm not gonna like bombard you with questions. So I'm just gonna give you the idea.
Yeah,
so
give me the
you would
evidence.
agree if you put up a map,
Mm-hmm.
most of the Earth is, or the surface is water, right?
Not gonna do that. Hruffen. No, he was gonna say, oh, well, the Earth is water and water's not carbonated, so, you know, blah, 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 that means it's flat. Like, he was just gonna do the dumb joke. Which we've all heard a million times before. All right, let's talk to P1M. P1, how's it going?
I am, yes, I am here.
P1, how old are you?
What's it?
How old are you? All right.
1 second.
Let's talk to Eat My Shorts. Eat My Shorts, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Eat My Shorts, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I'm not a flat earther. I just had a small argument, maybe a common sense argument.
Nope. Makita Bananas, how's it going?
Hey, it's good. You might want to skip me, but I don't think the Earth is flat, but I don't think flat Earth is dead.
Okay,
Is that something
well,
you'd
but
be interested in talking about?
Not really. Let's talk to Catholic. Catholic, how's it going? Oh, he left. Let's talk to Adam. Adam, how's it going?
So, alright. So, do you think the Earth is flat or?
No, I don't. Do you think
Okay,
that the
then
Earth is flat? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, let's talk to Douglas. Douglas, how's it going?
Going good, sir.
Glad to hear it. Douglas, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think that if the Earth was a ball, my dog would have done chewed it up by now. You know what I'm saying?
I don't. I can't tell if this is a troll, though. Why
It
do you
is a
think the Earth
joke,
is
though.
flat?
Have fun, Blitz. I'm just messing with you.
I don't appreciate it. Don't do it again. Let's talk to Declan. Declan, how's it going?
Oh, good.
Declan, how old are you?
I am 20.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1990.
You're not 20 then, my guy. Let's talk to Chex Carry.
Joe, what up?
Carrie, how's it going?
It's going good, son.
Carrie, what
I'm
shape
a
do you think
flat
the Earth is?
I guess you said what?
What shape do you think the Earth is?
Flat.
Okay, and why so?
I mean, if it was round, wouldn't it rise, son?
Wouldn't it rise what? Wouldn't what?
I mean, if you would think about it, Libra, the video you showed, it looked flat. I mean, flat and round. Something can be flat and round. You get what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I have
something
no
can
idea
be
what you're
flat
saying.
and oval. The video you showed was an oval. It wasn't a round shape. It was an
It
oval.
definitely was curved. That was the contention.
Curved, yeah, but
So
around like
do we
a
agree
ball.
that the Earth is? Do we agree that the Earth is curved like a ball and not flat like a plate?
I mean, an oval is flat. An oval can be flat and curved.
An oval isn't, well, so an oval is two-dimensional. We're talking about a three-dimensional thing, right?
I mean, yeah, if we look at all the pictures put up by the Freemasons that control our education system, yeah, it's circular.
Okay, so you think that the Earth is like a plate or like a basketball?
Like a plate.
Okay, why do you think so?
I mean, it's not a perfect round shape, but it's flat. I mean,
why do you think so?
I mean, it's really nothing else. I mean, it's really nothing else to prove it. Like, think about all the information that we got. We didn't get no information since we were little. We're indoctrinated like by Freemasons. All of our information we get is from Freemason higher ups. The book that was created for our
Really? You think so?
educational system. Of
So
course.
do you think that
like,
before the Freemasons existed, or before even the United States existed, nobody thought that the Earth was a globe?
there's plenty of people. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people without the main resources that we use. If we go and say fuck, if we start from ground zero and be like, man, fuck it, we not finna take
Carrie?
this information
Carrie,
that
I asked you a really simple question.
you asked me a yes or no question. Do you want me to answer it?
It was just like a simple question. Like, before the United States existed, do you think that nobody thought it was a globe?
Yes, I think there was more. So you think that there was only one?
And I'm just clarifying. You don't think that anybody thought it was a globe before the United States existed?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying it could have been both. So you're banking on that only people thought it was round and nobody thought it was flat, or nobody thought it was a triangle shape.
I'm not baking on any of that. I'm just trying to understand why you're bringing up the Freemasons and the Rothschilds or whatever, because that has nothing to do with why we think the Earth is a sphere.
In order for a scientist to be put at the top of the top, they either have to be a Freemason or they have to be tied in with the Zionists. None of our information that we get is from a regular person.
Can you give me an example of a Nobel Prize winner in the last 20 years in physics who was a Freemason?
The person that went to the what's Neil Armstrong?
Can you give me an example? That doesn't address my question at all. Can you give me an example of a Nobel Prize winner in physics in the last 20 years who was a Freemason?
I can look up a few.
Okay, go find me one. Because I would say that Nobel Prize winners in, say, physics are people at the top of the top, right? By the way, I can't hear you when you're off the app, so if you're talking right now, I can't help you. I can't help you at all.
All right, but I'm at.
Still can't hear you. Okay, I can hear. Oh, still can't hear you.
Oh, my fault. I'm about to look it up and then come back.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Take your time. Also, like, Zionism didn't really exist prior to, say, the mid to late 1800s. So, like, I don't know why you would then think that, like, there are, I don't know, people who thought the Earth was a globe who were, like, top scientists who thought that the Earth was, you know, a globe, but they weren't Zionists, and you can prove that they weren't Freemasons. Yeah, he's probably asking ChatGPT, let's be real. Welcome back.
Hold on, bro. I gotta. I can't.
Can't hear you.
You said last 50 or 20?
20.
That shit literally stopped. It says none.
Yeah, turns out none of them are. Because most people aren't Freemasons, especially scientists. So do you want to retract your claim?
No, I don't want to retract my claim.
Okay, so
everybody,
then what? So you were wrong, but you don't want to retract your claim?
No, bro. Everybody know. Well, not everybody knows, but everybody know there's a multiple fraction of Freemasons, bro.
A multiple fraction of... I don't even know what that sentence means, let alone what you intended
It's multiple.
by it.
The Freemasons are all split up. It's not
Okay,
like
so
there are.
So you made the claim that if you want to be a top scientist, you have to be a Freemason or a Zionist, right? which is like a crazy claim to begin with.
No. I say you
And
have
then
to
I
be a
asked you-
Freemason that bows down to the Zionists.
Okay.
Anything,
Okay. So if that's,
any
if
organization.
that's the case, then you should have been able to find a single example of a Nobel Prize winner in the last 20 years who is a Freemason. But you found none. They don't exist. The Nobel Prize winners in the last 20 years, none of them have been Freemasons. So it seems like your conspiracy is just false. It's just not true.
Okay, who is Narj? What does Narj Muhammad do?
I have no idea who that person is. I imagine you're probably not pronouncing it correctly either.
Wait, so
Narj
can you name
Muhammad?
me 5? Yeah, like can you name me 5 Nobel Peace Prizes, like winners?
I don't really pay attention to the Nobel Peace Prize. I pay attention to the physics prize. So Elena Aspect, I forget his first name. His last name is Clauser. Roger Penrose, Kip Thorne. That's 4, and that's like on the last 10 years. Then I know their names off the top of my
Earth
head.
is life. Said, bro, just stop. This shit crazy.
So why would you say that in order to be a top scientist, you have to be a Freemason if none of the top scientists have been Freemasons?
Bro, this is what I'm saying. Every information we get from the beginning since education started, since Rothschild started the education system,
You know that
to build workers.
there are people who are not American, right? Roger Penrose is a
Bro,
non-American.
that don't matter, bro.
Roger
That don't
Penrose
matter
is a
in the Zionist.
Roger Penrose is a British physicist and mathematician who won a Nobel Prize like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. Who's not a Freemason. He didn't get educated in the United States, so the Rothschilds, the whatever, had no influence on his education system.
Okay, so
You wanna
before,
try again?
so wait, you say I'm just confused on how you say that nobody believe so that only one person, the majority of the world believe that the world is round, but before scientific theory came into history, everybody believed that the world was flat because everybody was really.
No, it
Yes,
didn't.
majority of the world. Think about, bro. America is built on religions.
When do you think science started?
Oh, science been started. It's in the Bible, documented.
Science? Okay, so but you said that ever since scientists have been around, people have thought the Earth is a globe. So you think that people
Science
have thought the Earth
theory.
Okay, so
Science theory
when do you think science theory started?
Shit, it didn't start. It started way after. It started way after the Bible was
when?
proven fact.
When did science theory start?
I mean, you know more about science theory. How about I ask you?
So
where did
why did you say, well, because it's a nonsense statement. You were the one who said it, that, nobody thought that the Earth was a globe before science theory started. So like, when did science theory start?
It started way after the Bible was confirmed fact.
When? Give me a year. It doesn't even have to be an exact year. Give me a rough year. A decade even. Maybe even a century.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Okay. He's going to ask ChatGPT again. Absolutely. Of course he will.
So I don't use ChatGPT. I'm on Google.
It's okay. That's fine. You're going to use the Google AI, which, by the way, using an AI as a search engine is not terribly a bad thing as long as it provides its sources.
Artificial intelligence.
I can't hear you when you're off the app, by the way. So I'm going to have to define a decade and a century for him. That might be right.
Science theory was created in 1617. 16th, 17th century. So you telling me before that?
Hold on, I just got to know. What was it that you typed into Google?
When was the term science theory? When was the term scientific theory created?
Oh, but that's not what you said. You said science theory.
That's the same thing. Scientific. Science theory, scientific theory.
Right. I just typed in exactly what you said, what you told me to type in. Right. I imagine you can probably see this, right? When was the term scientific theory created?
Theory.
It says 1833 for me.
16th, 17th.
So why did I get a different answer from what you got?
I mean, it's
You
going
can see
back
I typed
farther.
it in directly. I typed in directly what you wrote. I got a different answer.
I'm saying though, this doesn't prove nothing. It's literally farther than what mine says. So I don't see how this is in your favor.
Well, it just seems like you actually don't have any idea what you're talking about. You don't have any clue about any of this, and you're kind of just like repeating nonsense words that you've heard in YouTube and TikTok videos.
Only thing you're doing is asking me a question and telling me to look it up, and then when I look it up,
I'd
you
love
go
you
look
to
up the
not
same
have to look
thing.
it up, but you have to look it up because you don't know the answer to any of the questions I've asked you.
So you asked me name 10, name 20, name 20, name 10, 20
Yeah.
years of the last thing.
So Carrie, I
and
actually didn't ask you to
two.
name 20. What I did is I said, look, if it's true that all of these top scientists are Freemasons who bow down to the Zionists, if that's true, then you should be able to name a single one of them who is a Freemason. Because, I imagine
You asked me in the last 20 years.
I asked you, can you name a single one in the last 20 years that has been a Freemason? Because I imagine that if you made the claim that this is true, then I would imagine that you would have looked into it before. So you probably would know the name of at least one of them, right? But
So
you
I
didn't,
put out a
because you've never actually
So I
looked
can't
into the
talk?
things you're saying. No, you can go ahead now.
So you're gonna tell me I'm gonna ask you something, right? I asked you a question about the first Freemason, not the first Freemason, but where our main scientific stuff come from. It does not come from the last 20 years. What does the last 20 years of Nobel Peace Prize winners have to do with the previous
We're not talking about Nobel Peace Prize winners.
You brought up Nobel Peace Prize
I
winners.
brought up the Nobel Prize in physics.
Yes, bro.
Do you think that that's the same as the Nobel Peace Prize? Do you not know the difference?
I'm talking about the beginning of our education system. You're talking about the last 20 years. We don't even use books
Carrie,
we don't even, in our school system,
I'm
our
sure you
books
don't.
is damn near
I'm sure
40.
you don't. So, Carrie, the reason why I brought that up is because you said in order to be a top scientist, you have to be a Freemason who bows down to the Zionists. Those were your words. And, and Nobel Prize winners in physics are top scientists. So if your statement is true, yeah, they're all top scientists. And literally the top scientists are the people who win Nobel Prizes.
You
so
are the
if your claim,
Can I talk?
If your claim, no, let me finish my sentence. If your claim is merely that all of the top scientists have to be Freemasons, well, I just showed you examples. In fact, you showed yourself examples.
You did not show me.
You showed yourself. None of the top scientists in the last 20 years have been Freemasons. Go ahead.
What new information in the last 20 years has come to debunk any previous science theory? What
I don't
new
understand.
information
What do
has
you mean
come?
debunk? Science doesn't really do the whole debunking thing of like old science. It just improves on it.
I'm talking about the beginning of science, and you throw a number to the last 20 years. Why don't you want to talk about the beginning of science? When I talk about the beginning, when I talk about the, can I talk, bro?
Why not look in the first 10 Nobel Prizes in physics? Were any of them Freemasons?
Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
I talk and you throw a question in the middle of me talking. Every time I cut you off, you say, let me finish my sentence. What I was saying, when I said something about the beginning of science, you say, fuck the beginning of science. Show me the last 20 years.
Well, you didn't say anything about the beginning of science, by the way. You said that all top scientists are Freemasons.
No, I didn't. I said that everything.
Do we need to replay it?
Yes, everything that we get from scientists.
Okay, we'll replay
everything
it.
we get from scientists.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But we'll see what you said.
Or nobody thought it was a triangle shape.
I'm not.
That it's not a perfect.
Be a top scientist, you have to be. So do you want to retract your claim? Okay, hold on. The globe.
The person that went to the
any of that. I'm just trying.
Nobody thought it was. Not saying that. No, I'm saying.
But I thought the United States existed. Do you think that nobody thought it was a globe?
Yes, I think there was more. So you think that there was only one?
And I'm just clarifying. You don't think that anybody thought it was a globe before the United States existed?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying it could have been both. So you're banking on that only people thought it was round and nobody thought it was flat, or nobody thought it was a triangle shape.
I'm not. We might be a little bit behind any of that. I'm just trying to understand why you're bringing up the Freemasons and the Rothschilds or whatever, because that has nothing to do with why we think the Earth is a sphere.
In order in with the Zionists, none of it at the top of the top. They either in order for a scientist to be put at the top of the top, they either have to be a Freemason or they have to be tied in with the Zionists. None of our information.
You hear that?
Yes, bro.
In order to be at the top of the top,
Wait, finish it. Finish it. I
Wait,
said
so
none of our.
to be
Finish
clear,
it.
you said that in order to be a scientist at the top of the top, you have to either be a Freemason or be tied in with the Zionists. You said
Who
that,
is at
right?
the top of the top? Who is at the top of the top? I
Nobel Prize
guarantee you,
winners.
of the last 20 years is the top of the people of the beginning.
That's not what you said.
That's not what I didn't say.
You said in order to be a scientist at the top of the top, you have to be either a Freemason or be involved with the Zionists. Like those
So
were
who
your
is at the
words.
top of the top? What scientist is at the top of the top?
Roger Penrose, for example. One of
New
the most
or
brilliant
old?
physicists alive. He's alive. He's like in his
No,
90s.
that's not the top of the top. That's not the top of the
He's
top.
literally regarded as one of the most important like physicists in cosmology, like of all time.
I'm talking about, bro. I said the top of the top. They're not at the top of the top. When we go
Roger
to
Penrose
history,
absolutely is at the top of the top.
I don't even know who that is, bro. I'm
that's
talking
because
about
you don't know anything about science, and I get that you don't. But like, if you don't know anything about science, you shouldn't make points about science.
So it's like we're on two different topics. I'm talking about the originators where we get our
Okay, here's a
original
question:
science
was
from.
Philip Leonard as a Freemason?
I don't know what that is. Did you just look him up?
He was the fourth. No, I just happen to know this offhand. He was the fourth Nobel Prize winner, if I remember correctly. I think he won it in 1904. Was he a Freemason?
Yeah.
Did you just say he was?
No, I might look it up. When did he know?
Okay.
When did he win it? The fourth?
He won the fourth Nobel Prize in physics. I think it was the fourth. It was one of the first 10, I think. Sorry, he won the Nobel Prize in 1905, so it was the fifth Nobel Prize. He definitely wasn't a Freemason because he was German, Hungarian German. He also wasn't a Zionist because he was a Nazi.
Bro, there are Freemasons in Germany. There are Freemasons everywhere.
Well, no, I mean, there's just no evidence that supports that he was a Freemason. And he also didn't bow down to the Zionists because he was a Nazi. So, like, you know, that's a good example of an early physicist who was not a Freemason and not in line with the Zionists. Or what about Wilhelm Röntgen?
It says on Google, it basically says figuring out who the first is kind of tricky. You know what I'm saying?
The first what?
Nobody really cared about Freemasons back then, for real, to be honest.
Yeah, so there's no evidence that he was a Freemason. Also, Wilhelm Röntgen. Wilhelm Röntgen. Do you know who Wilhelm Röntgen was?
I'm saying you're literally taking out
Wilhelm
names.
Röntgen. No, these are like the most important physicists. Wilhelm Röntgen won the very first Nobel Prize in physics, and he wasn't a Freemason. There's no evidence that supports that.
I'm just so confused on this Nobel. Like, why did you bring in Nobel
Because
Peace?
this is I'm not talking about the Nobel Peace Prize. Do you not know that there's a difference between the Nobel Prize in physics and the Nobel Peace Prize? These are like different things.
So I actually don't care who win awards, bro.
The Nobel Prize in Physics is the highest award granted to physicists, which means that these are the people who are at the top of the field. And the person who wins the first Nobel Prize in Physics is going to be one of the most important physicists to have ever lived. Now, this guy, Wilhelm Röntgen, for example, he was like, there's no evidence that he was a Freemason whatsoever. He was the guy who discovered X-rays. Like, that's pretty important. So rather than just spewing nonsense that is like mildly anti-Semitic and conspiracy brained.
Is it really anti-Semitic?
It's mildly anti-Semitic and conspiracy brained. Why not just actually engage with the evidence for the shape of the Earth being a sphere?
Twin, the evidence. Twin, you're taking names that are not Freemasons, but you're not.
Can you give me an example of a single Nobel Prize winner who was a Freemason?
Can I finish, bro? Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Can I land? You're saying this. You're basically banking on, bro, this is not a Freemason. I can show you an example of this one not a Freemason, but I can also show you about 20 other people that's on the whatever Peace Prize or that are Freemasons.
Can you give me two examples of physicists who won the Nobel Prize in Physics that were Freemasons?
Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. Was he a Nobel Prize winner? He was a journalist. He wasn't even a scientist. Rudyard Kipling? What does that have to do with science?
It says they're one of the early Nobel Peace 1906.
He wasn't a scientist. He's a writer.
So why did he win the Nobel? Why did he win?
He won the Nobel Prize in Literature, not the Nobel Prize in Physics.
That's on me. I put no. I'm tripping.
Bro
Let me look up
doesn't know.
physics.
I can find one example of a Nobel Prize winner who was a Freemason, and that's Enrico Fermi. It's the only example I can find. Maybe there's more, but you're gonna have to dig deep. There have been like 150 Nobel Prize winners in physics, if I remember correctly. And so, you know, find me like more than 2 and I'd be happy.
Yeah, but it say a couple. It say some of it's like they join lodges. It's like they join lodges. It say,
Okay, who? Can you find me more than like 1 or 2? Because I can only find, I think I can find 2. So there's Enrico Fermi. And then Enrico Fermi was and then I guess Sir Edward Victor Appleton was also a Nobel Prize winner.
Isidore Isaac.
Isidore Rabi? Isidore Rabi.
Yeah, Rabi.
Okay, let's look up Isidore Rabi. Is he a Freemason? No, there's no evidence that he was a Freemason. He's just Jewish. Why would you bring up Isidore Rabi?
It said that he Freemason. Shit.
Where did it say this on like on like Freemason GPT or something?
No, I typed it in on Google.
Okay, I typed it in on Google too. Here you go. Isidore Rabi Freemason. While Isidore Rabi was a prominent Jewish physicist involved in science, policy, and ethics, sources don't widely link him to Freemasonry. His life focused on science, his Jewish faith, and public service, particularly in nuclear arms control and establishing research, with no strong indication of Masonic affiliation mentioned in major biographies or summaries of his work. So, like, where did you get this idea? Was it just from, like, YouTube and TikTok? Because it seems like your whole notion of, like, science and Freemasonry being tied together is, like, nonsense and probably you should reconsider
all
it.
I'm saying, Twin, all I'm saying is every research that we piggyback off of since the beginning. Fuck Nobel Peace Prizes.
Okay,
like,
find me one piece of scientific evidence from, like, the last, or one scientific discovery from the last 150 years that's, say, more important than, I don't know, the discovery of the electron, or more important than relativity or quantum mechanics. Find me one that's more important than those that was done by a Freemason. Find me one. I can't hear you when you're off the app. By the way, the only thing that I can find for, like, famous physicists who were Freemasons, like, there's Enrico Fermi and then probably Isaac Newton.
oh shit, you can literally go to the Freemason website, bro. I'm on the Freemason website. Hold on.
Okay. So we have Enrico Fermi, Albert Michelson, John Theophilus de Sagliere, who I've never heard of, Edward Victor Appleton, who I've never heard of, but he won a Nobel Prize, and then Isaac Newton. Like, those are the names that pop up. I recognize a few of those names, but they're not, like, the creators of all of modern day science, right? So, like, what are you doing? Top 10, actually, yeah, top 10 Freemason scientists. Sir Edward Victor Appleton, okay. I've never heard of him. Jacques-Étienne Montgolfier, never heard of him. Richard Gatling, never heard of him. Christian F.S. Hahnemann, never heard of him. Vannevar Bush, never heard of him. Erasmus Darwin, never heard of him. Edward Jenner, never heard of him. James Watt, I've heard of James Watt. Benjamin Franklin, okay, cool. Alexander Fleming, wasn't he the guy who did penicillin? That's pretty cool. So there are 3 names on the list of top 10 scientists Freemasons. 3, and none of them include, like, Albert Einstein, Schrodinger, Heisenberg, Rutherford, Maxwell, Faraday. None of them include any of these, right? So, like, clearly most of science has nothing to do with Freemasonry.
I'm saying, bro, majority. I'm just saying majority.
Majority? You've mentioned one.
So you know more. Okay, this is why
I went to the Freemason website, and they only had like 3 people who were involved in physics, even mildly. Sorry, 2 people who were involved in physics, like two famous influential physicists. You think that who's the most famous physicist to have ever lived?
Twin, I ain't go front. Twin, I don't know nothing about physicists.
Well,
I just know about
physics
education.
is the science of the shape of the Earth. So,
Twin,
well, it's
I
not
just
just
know
that,
about-
but that's how we get to the shape of the Earth. So, look, name the most famous scientist that you've ever heard of.
Twin, I ain't go front. Bro.
Can you name a single scientist?
No, bro, I'm not that deep.
You don't know a single scientist. Then how are you making any claims about science?
Twin, you're talking about like specific people. I'm talking about.
So then how can you make the claim? How can you make the claim that the root of science is no? How can you make the claim that the root of science is Freemasonry if you can't even name a single scientist? Bro, just give up. Like this is just give up. Like this is embarrassing.
I guess, bro. Good strong arm.
Reconsider your ideas.
I guess, bro.
Man, that was like wildly embarrassing for that guy. Jeez. Bro didn't know anything. All right, let's read some super chats and we'll move on to our next guest. From Garain with the $2, Aristosthenes, the famed Freemason Zionist, true. Freemasonry and Zionism existed 2,300 years ago, very true. From David with the $5, listen, if you can't name 5 Nobel Peace Prize recipients, then you have no business debating the flat earth. Thanks for playing. True. You got me. I've been had. From Simeon Urchin with the $10, I don't understand all this Freemason anti-Christian conspiracy stuff. My brother was a part of Demolay, basically a youth Masonic group, and my family is quite tied to the Masons. It's very religious. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, the Masons are like a super religious organization. Like, why would they think that like there's some stuff in like something sinister there if, they get their information from the Bible? From Gretchen with the $3, I see your Freemasons and raise you a Knights Templar. True. Yeah, Knights Templar, they started the Freemasons. From Lord Illuminati's Lord Illumin is poo. As leader of the Illuminati, whose brother is a Mason and grandfather is a Knights Templar, no, Flat Earth is a Hydra psyop. True. Hail Hydra. Sorry, Hail Hydra. That's what they do, right? And from Kale Samagi, thank you for the 5 Canuck bucks. Could you please help me with my FLERF friends who say you can zoom in and see the bottom of the ship? Feel free to tell them to come up. Absolutely, I'd love to talk to them. All right, let's talk to El Birdie. El Birdie, how's it going?
Yo, what's up, bro? Okay,
what shape do you think the Earth is, El Birdie?
Well, okay, look, I can agree with you on this point. The Earth is not flat, right? But listen to me now. I'm cooking. Hold on. The Earth is actually hollow.
Moo, how's it going?
Hi. So I'm sorry in advance. English isn't my first language.
That's fine as long as we can communicate. Moo, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Okay, so my question is how
Wait, can you just answer my question really quick?
Okay, but please don't kick me because I think the Earth is round, but I need arguments against flat earthers, and I.
Okay, if you need arguments, then just watch. You don't need to be here in order to get. You don't need to be in the chat in order to get the arguments, right? Batman, how's it going? Batman. From Richard Hitchens with the 10 Canuck bucks, I appreciate the way you actively listen to and engage with your guests' perspective. Online conversations often feel like a series of rehearsed talking points. Your approach is truly refreshing. I appreciate that. Usually they're not as bad faith as the guy I just spoke with, but, you know, sometimes that happens. Seraphim, how's it going?
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Seraphim, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Round. Before you kicked me, did you see I had commented asking if I can come up?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. Yeah, if you're okay with me sharing, I just have an interesting anecdote about a social experiment that I did with flat earthers, and I think you'd find it kind of neat.
I'm going to suggest that you share it in the Discord. Which, by the way, if you're 18 years or older, please join the Discord server. Go to discord.gg/drblitz or Dr. Blitz. Join the Discord server. It's a cool way to share your stories, to get announcements about live streams, to get announcements about videos that I post, to talk with other people. If you're watching on YouTube, you can talk with the Discorders, if you're talk with the TikTokers. If you're watching on TikTok, you can talk with the YouTubers. So join the Discord server. All right, next up we have Souljohn. Souljohn, how's it going? Oh, he's not here yet.
Hello?
Souljohn, how's it going?
Hi. What's up? Can you hear me?
I can. Souljohn, your mic is a little quiet. But what shape do you think the Earth is?
Flat.
Okay, and why so?
Okay, I have various perspectives. Sorry, my English is not my first language.
Your English is fine, but your microphone's a little bit quiet. So if you can talk a little bit closer to your mic, that'd be helpful.
Can you hear me now?
It's still kind of quiet. Maybe I can... Well, I think that we can probably make do. So, Souljohn, what evidence do you have for the Earth being flat?
Okay, I have three perspectives. The first is biblical, but I'll start with science.
Please.
Start with science. Okay. The reason why I believe the Earth is flat and not round is because where science began.
Was that a question?
No. Like where science began. Like you asked the previous guy about scientific proof or scientific word. Yeah, before. It started in Mesopotamia. You know,
well, kind of. I mean, like the way that we do science now definitely started in Europe in like the 1600s.
True.
At least that's how we do science today. But how is that evidence for the shape of the Earth?
Okay. No, I wanted to start with the perspective of how people believed. You can see across many cultures, Aztec, the Chinese and all that. They all have flat Earth concepts. But as time went on, as time went on, people started changing to the scientific perspective. But science started as like alchemy or nature. It was nature magic. There's actually proof for this.
Okay, but what does this have to do with the actual shape of the Earth being flat?
The reason why I'm saying this is because science started disproving what the church was saying. Because
but so what's the scientific evidence that the Earth is flat?
Sorry, the scientific evidence cannot prove the Earth is flat, because science goes against what the church was saying, and the church was saying the Earth was flat.
Okay, so why should anyone think the Earth is flat then, if there's no scientific evidence for it?
Honestly, like in this day and age, like you said, we do science differently. There is literally on 99% I cannot prove. No one can prove it, because everything proves there are many.
Well, we can prove a lot of things. Like we can prove that like gravity behaves in a certain way. We can prove that like Mars is orbiting the sun. We can prove a lot of things scientifically. Why can't we prove that if the Earth is actually flat? Why can't we prove it?
Because like I said, science was actually a tool made to go against.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying you don't have any evidence that the Earth is flat.
Okay, the second perspective, biblical. Like I said,
okay, but I don't believe the Bible, so that's not going to be particularly compelling to me.
Okay, so do you believe science? What about the scientists who bake the Bible, who believe things that happen in the Bible? And
I think that they're wrong about those.
Okay, it's like literally the time frame we move is the scientific. People say it's a scientific time, but no, we move in the biblical time.
Okay.
Is it not?
Sorry, Soljon. It's just, it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere. I don't think that you actually wanted to talk about the evidence. You just wanted to complain about how science is going against the Bible or something. So let's talk to King Osekofi. King, how's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it. King, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Yeah. I used to think that the Earth is flat, but according to when I'm listening and stuff, no one is actually whoever that's claiming that the Earth is flat is not putting evidence that the Earth is really flat or not. So
You're right. Okay, well, it sounds like you don't agree. By the way, Nate, thank you for the Interstellar. I appreciate that. All right. Let us let's look at some super chats really quick and we'll bring up our next guest. I'm sorry, I always mispronounce your name. It's Lord Illuminous Pooh. Lord Illuminous Pooh. Got it. Thank you for the $2, by the way. From Sansa Bark with the $2. It isn't fair. You know things and your colors don't. I know. It's so unfair. From Milf Wrangler with the $5. Untrue. It was the Bainites and the Ballists that started Freemasonry along with Saravok. True. That's very true. From Minuto de Virologia with the $2. First time watching the live. Keep it up, Doctor. I'll do my best. I appreciate you. We have $5 from a Dwayne Warren. Can we get a prompt that causes less brain rot? I feel dumber by the moment. Unfortunately, this needs to be done. And from Quark Raven with the $5, could you share your experiences discussing gravity with flat earthers being the basis for the shape of all astronomical bodies beyond a given mass? They don't even think gravity is real. So like that's a whole conversation that I often have with flat earthers. Usually it involves me providing evidence like modern scientific experiments that measure gravity to extreme precision. But usually they just their eyes just kind of glaze over and they don't know how to respond to it. That's usually what happens. See, we have somebody in the TikTok comments saying gravity doesn't exist right now. All right, let's talk to Preston. Nope, Preston's not coming up. Let's talk to Zibby. Zibby, how's it going?
I'm good, I'm good.
Glad to hear it, Zibby. Zibby, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Well, I don't think, I just know that it is flat. So, yeah.
Okay, look, so I don't, so I want to know what's true. Why don't you tell me what like the best evidence is for the Earth being flat?
I mean, the best evidence is just that your whole guys' theory does not actually work.
Well, wait a minute. So, Zibby, I just have to clarify. Evidence for the flat Earth is not the same as evidence against the globe Earth, right? So, like, you should be able to provide a positive case for the Earth being flat if you think the Earth is flat.
Can I ask you one question, though?
You can, as long as it's going to lead into the evidence that you're going to present.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I'm just asking this. I've always wondered this, and you guys never seem to answer me, always pivoting, always like insulting me instead of the argument. So I'm just wondering, like, let's say I'm in an helicopter and I fly up, and we're supposedly on a spinning ball at 1,000 kilometers an hour. How come if I hover for 30 minutes, I'm still in the same spot when I go down?
Because you're hovering. When you hover, you're stationary with respect to the air, and the air is moving roughly the same speed as the ground. Of course, wind makes it slightly different, but like you're stationary with respect to the air, and the air is roughly stationary with respect to the ground.
Wait, so if the air is moving with the Earth,
yeah,
how come when I run in any direction, I don't feel 9,000 winds
because
coming against me?
Because you're not running at 9,000 miles an hour. When you run, So if it's not windy out, of course, if it's windy, then you'll feel stronger wind. But if it's not windy out, that means that the air is moving with the earth. And if the air is moving with the earth, then if you run at 10 miles an hour, it will be like the wind is blowing on you at 10 miles an hour. So now that I've answered your question, can you actually provide the evidence for the flat earth? Because I answered your question. I didn't run. I didn't pivot. I answered your question exactly. Can you provide your evidence for the shape or for the earth being flat, please?
You didn't answer my question because
I did. I explained why you don't move relative to the ground when you're hovering. Well, look, you might not like the explanation, but I absolutely answered it.
So, so the Earth is spinning at all directions at once?
The Earth is spinning from west to
in one
east.
direction. So why is
or is it east to west? Hold on, I always get that backwards. I always have to visualize. So it's spinning so that the sun rises in the east and so it spins that way.
thing.
No, it
What?
spins from west to east. I'm sorry.
West to east. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm running towards the west, what happened to the spin? What?
What do you mean? What happened to the spin? You're
Well,
moving.
no,
You're
no.
moving relative to the Earth.
You know?
Do you not understand that? Okay, look. Maybe I can explain what's
if
going
the
on a little
wind
bit better.
is spinning against
So Zibby,
then I would feel it. What?
Zibby, if you're on a train,
Why are you?
Zibby, imagine that you're on a train going, say, 60 miles an hour or something like that, right? Now, the air inside the train is also moving 60 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're running inside the train, why don't you feel the 60 miles an hour wind?
Because I'm in the train and I'm
right
moving with the train.
Right.
What?
But you're not. You're moving faster than the train. You're moving, or perhaps slower. You're running inside the train. If you run on the earth, the air is moving with the earth. So when you run on the earth, you're not going to feel 60 miles. You're not going to feel 1,000 miles an hour of wind. You're going to feel however much wind you would feel by running at 10 miles an hour, because the air is moving with the earth.
Closed system.
The air is moving with the earth. That's why.
It's a closed system in the train, though. It's not the same.
And the earth is keeping the air stuck to it gravitationally.
This is a false equivalence fallacy.
No, it's actually like a almost perfect equivalence. The only distinction is that the earth is non-inertial and the train generally is inertial. But the earth is only minorly non-inertial, so we can treat it as inertial for all intents and purposes, at least for these examples. So like it's actually a really, really good analogy.
Can you define minorly?
Yeah, as in like the failure to be inertial is negligible. You can compute it. It's because the earth is rotating, but the earth's rotation is actually quite slow. So like the failure to be inertial will show up in things like the centrifugal force and the Coriolis effect. But these are both very, very small effects. They're sub 1% effects, depending on how fast you're moving and, things like that.
It doesn't matter because it's a small percentage?
Well, yeah, it's like not noticeable by like humans when we're just like walking around, right? Like we can measure these things in like laboratories, but like if you're just walking around, you're not going to notice it.
So it doesn't matter. That's your answer.
No, that wasn't my answer. Is that what you got from my whole
no,
explanation?
You said that it's negligible because
I said that it's negligible. And
my
what did I
pronunciation is
say?
bad,
What did I say was negligible?
The effects. But
What
I
effects?
thought every number was relevant to the equation.
What did I say was negligible specifically?
The inertia of the Earth.
No, I said the fact that the Earth is No, I didn't. I will clarify. Maybe you misheard. I said that the fact that the Earth is non-inertial is negligible. And that was the only distinction between the train and the Earth example. It's the only distinction between the two examples. And if that distinction is negligible, then it's not relevant for the part of the conversation that we're having. So now, can you provide evidence? Can you provide the evidence that the Earth is flat, please?
Yeah, just by the fact that I mean, NASA derived from the word nasha, which is to deceive. That the fact that 99% of all space images are CGI, the fact that we lost the technology. I mean, you're acting
sorry.
like
Sorry.
it's a
I stopped
but
paying attention because you weren't answering my question. I was just asking for evidence that the Earth is flat. Saying that
it's
NASA
all
means
a lie.
deceive. Saying that NASA means deceive is not evidence that the Earth is flat.
Because it's all a lie.
Okay, I want the evidence that the Earth is flat, please.
Because I'm literally proving it to you, and you're denying.
All you're saying is that this other thing
Why
is a
are you
lie.
doing-
I'm asking for the evidence for the flat Earth. Not evidence against the globe. I'm asking for evidence. Basically, what I want you to do is I want you to prove that the Earth is flat without mentioning the globe once.
Okay, so if you don't want to, you don't want to answer my question. Okay, I get it. It's all
I
right.
asked you a question, you didn't answer it. So, no, I'm not
literally
going to answer your
answered-
question within a question. I asked you for evidence that the Earth is flat, not evidence that the Earth is not a globe.
Man, these globalists. Okay, I'll tell you this. If you
What's the evidence that the Earth is flat? Please. I want evidence.
ice wall.
Okay.
The
What
ice
about the
wall.
ice wall?
I mean,
What about it?
why I've seen it.
You've
First
seen
of
it
all,
personally?
Yeah, I've seen it
Where?
in Antarctica.
Which part of Antarctica?
In Antarctica, it's
Antarctica's a
right
big
there.
place. Which part of Antarctica did you see it?
Edge of it.
There's lots of edge. Which part?
I mean, you're not even gonna believe me. So why are you asking me? This is
I'd
bad
love to
faith.
believe you. Which part did you see? Like, which part of Antarctica? What were your coordinates, for example?
You guys want to deny the truth so bad.
Were you on the west side of Antarctica, the east side of Antarctica?
Your religion. Like, are you even open to change? I'm wondering. Like, are you actually open to change?
If it's true, I'd love to believe it. I just want to actually see the evidence. But you're not actually going to provide any evidence. So, can you give me some details about? Can you give me some? Can you give me some details about this? About where you saw the ice wall?
Why do you care so much about the ice wall when I
You brought it up.
questioned you?
You brought it up
so many times. And you
What
can't
do you
even
mean? Why
answer
do
my
I care so much
question.
about it? You brought it up.
Yeah, it exists.
So where did you see it?
I saw it in Antarctica. I just told you.
What were your coordinates? Approximately. You don't have to where did you go from? Did you leave from South America? Did you leave from Australia, New Zealand? Did you fly? What did you do?
I flew.
Okay, where'd you fly from?
I mean, I didn't fly the plane. I'm not a pilot.
Yeah, what city did you leave from?
The city I left from was.
Oh, bro, you're lying.
What?
You don't even know? You don't even know where you left from?
Because I didn't fly the plane. Come on, man.
Yeah, you were in the city. Look, of course you didn't fly the plane, but you got in the plane somewhere.
Look,
where did you go? What airport did you? What city were you in when you went to the airport to get on the plane?
You're just gonna say I'm a troll. I'm a troll, but
do you not know the answer? If you look, the fact that you're dodging, it makes me makes me not believe you at all.
You're gonna say that I'm dodging. I asked you
yeah, you are dodging. I asked you where did you leave from? What airport? What city? What city did you fly from?
I told you it exists. It's not relevant to the discussion.
It absolutely is. What city did you board the plane on? Or did you board the plane in?
You're asking about the city I left from instead of the ice wall.
Yeah, well, because look, if you can't answer that question, then it's like obvious you're lying because you just don't know what airports actually fly over Antarctica.
Globalism, your whole thing is a lie.
Okay, so why did you just lie to me? You know that lying's a sin, right?
Okay.
So why did you lie to me about seeing Antarctica?
Who said I lied?
Well, I am because you couldn't even tell me what airport you left from.
Because you're just derailing the conversation. I've done this.
It's not a derail. I'm talking about the thing you brought up that you're clearly lying about.
No. No, like
Bro,
no,
you're
man.
caught.
Come on, man.
You're caught. You're caught
You're
in 4K.
caught.
You're caught in 60 FPS 4K footage.
What happened to NASA? Did you answer that question? I mean, I'm just returning
I was
the favor, bro.
look. So okay, so you admit that you lied? I'm glad we agree.
No, I didn't lie.
Oh, so then why did you return the favor? You returned the favor about
didn't
NASA,
answer
but
the question.
NASA, you're saying NASA lies, so you're lying? Oh, okay.
No, when I asked you about NASA, you didn't answer.
I
Nah, I'm
asked
not
you
gonna
about
answer because
evidence
you
for the
didn't
flat
answer me,
Earth.
bro.
I asked you for
Yes,
evidence
bro.
for the flat Earth. You said you saw the ice wall. I asked you, did you see it on a boat? Did you see it on a plane? You said on a plane, so I asked you what airport you left from, and you couldn't answer the damn question because you don't know what airports fly to Antarctica or fly over Antarctica because you made it up.
I'm not a pilot.
No, because you made it up. Like I
Wait,
can
is
tell
this
I can
a
tell you
discussion
what city
about
I
my
flew from.
about me
I can
being a
tell you what
pilot,
city
or-
I flew from anywhere to anywhere because I actually fly places. You've never flown over Antarctica. You just
Wait,
lied
so
to
you
my
can tell-
face blatantly,
can you
and it's
tell me what city
embarrassing
you
for
li-
you, and you should feel
Wait.
bad, and your mother should feel bad.
No. You've been caught now. You've been caught. I'm on just the story right now because I've done this a million times. So you're saying that when you flied when you were like 1 year old, you knew where you flew? Is that it?
I didn't
You
fly
knew
when I was one.
every travel? You didn't, right?
No, I know I didn't fly when I was one. I didn't fly
Right.
until I was like 5.
Yeah, and you remember that, right?
Yeah. I can tell you
You
all
do.
of the I can tell you all of the cities that I've flown out of. There's a lot, but I could list them for you.
That's great, man. You
Yeah,
know
so
how to
what?
fly.
I'm sorry,
just-
were you 3 years old when you flew over Antarctica?
I mean, I was young.
How old?
I'll tell you that. About I'm 4 years old, I think.
You were 4 years old. So you remember seeing the ice wall, but you don't remember what city you flew out of? Do you even remember what country you flew out of?
I mean, is that so?
Yeah, it is.
Is
I don't
that
believe
so
so.
surprising?
Hold on. Your whole belief that the Earth is flat stems from a memory from when you were 4 years old that
No,
you're obviously lying about, by the way, about seeing the ice wall in
No,
Antarctica.
you're lying. You're lying. You're just lying right now. My whole belief comes from that and the fact that your whole thing is a psyop. It's so obvious. I don't get how you guys don't see it.
This is so
Just open your
embarrassing for
eyes.
you. Okay, so
When
bro
you
just
got the
blatantly lied to
glasses,
me,
didn't you-
and then
didn't you
wait a minute.
unlock
So
your
to be
vision?
clear, just to be clear,
You need
just
to
to be clear,
switch your glasses, bro.
do you think that a
Get
4-year-old
better
is
glasses.
do you think that a 4-year-old is capable of evaluating what they're seeing out the window of an airplane?
I mean, I
And
got
why
it
were you on a, why
verified.
were you on a flight to Antarctica when you were 4?
My father has a passion for this. He taught me this. 'Cause
He taught you this. So was he
Yeah.
piloting a plane?
No, he wasn't. He was a passenger as well. He told me this before he passed.
Oh, so you've been indoctrinated.
I
Got
don't
it.
You're telling me about indoctrination, bro.
Yeah, your dad indoctrinated you into
Globalism.
flat Earth belief and tricked you into believing that you saw the ice wall when you probably just flew over Michigan in the winter.
Bro, you're actually hilarious.
Zibby,
You're
what country do you live in?
I live in Denmark.
Okay, have you ever been outside of the country?
Yeah, multiple times.
Where have you been?
I've been to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Oh, okay. Turns out you can't fly from the US over Antarctica, nor can you fly from Denmark over Antarctica. So there's another lie.
What?
Yeah, there are no flights that will take you from the US to Antarctica.
Who said I went from the U.S. to Antarctica?
No, you said that those are the countries that you've been to.
Yeah, as in vacationed.
Oh, so you've been to
Because
other
I've
countries?
been
What other
to
countries have you been
other
to?
Countries.
What other countries have you been
It's not. Why are you? Can you answer my questions, or is it just you're gonna?
No,
ask me?
I'm
Can I
currently
ask one
interrogating
question?
you because you're lying, and it's so obvious that you're lying, and I want you to feel bad about it.
Can't you just? I mean, can't you just be good faith?
I would love to
actually
be good
get to
faith,
the
but first
truth.
you'd have to not lie to me. So if you admitted that you lied to me about that, I'd be happy to turn off the aggro, okay?
I want to get to the truth, but you're
I'm
not
sure you
working
do.
with me.
However, if you continue to lie to me, I'm not going to turn off the aggro. I'm sorry.
Look, man, I'm actually curious.
You're actually curious. Then why did you lie to me?
Yeah.
If you're a truth seeker, why would you lie? Truth seekers don't lie.
Yeah, truth seekers don't lie.
You're right. So then why would you lie to me if you're actually a truth seeker?
Yeah, why would I? Right.
Yeah, it's a great question. But you did lie. So that means you must not be a truth seeker.
Not.
You can't even
I
tell
know
me
the
what
truth.
you can't even tell me what country you flew out of to get to Antarctica.
I can tell you.
Okay, what was the country?
I didn't fly though. I didn't fly.
You said you flew.
No, I'm not a pilot.
No, but that's not what. Okay, look, I understand that Danish people don't speak English as a first language, but you guys do learn English from like second grade. So use that noggin and actually understand the words I'm saying. Nobody's assuming that you're flying yourself personally. What we're saying is, what country did you leave from to go over Antarctica?
To go.
That's what you said happened.
I flew. I didn't walk on there, man.
I never said you flew. I said to go over Antarctica.
What?
That's what you do. When you're on a plane and you're over something, you are going over that thing.
I flew over.
Okay, what country did you leave from to fly over Antarctica?
You won't let this go, huh?
No, not until you
You're
admit that you
just stuck
lied.
on this question.
Not until you admit that you lied.
You're actually an interesting person. Most of the people are not like you.
Yeah, most of the people care less about truth than I do.
This subject. Well, I'm not one of them. I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
you don't care much about truth. Yeah, I agree. Bye, Zibby. What a lying liar. All right, let's read some super chats and move on to our next guest. From Gamer Punk Cloud with the $5. Hey Blitz, I'm a studying Greek Orthodox catechumen. I wanted to ask if you have a topics schedule of some kind. I only get Flat Earth every time. So Flat Earth is usually Mondays. And then I usually do something else on Thursday, and then I usually do theism on Friday. This week will be a little bit different because I'm doing five debate live streams this week rather than 3, and so I'm not sure what my schedule will be this week. From Ekipo with the €5. Listening to these people, I mean, is there a correlation? I don't know what correlation you're referring to. Between like Danish people? Maybe. From Ken with the $20. Thank you so much, Ken. What's up? Doing good work, man. I appreciate you. With the $2 from Brando's Metal. Wow, final boss disingenuous gaslighter. Wow, bro. Yeah, I know. He was so disingenuous. By the way, I actually don't think that he was Danish either. I think that was probably a lie. All right, let's bring up Ton618 Hater. Ton618 Hater, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, sir.
I'm glad. Ton618, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's flat.
Okay, why so?
Yeah, so I mean, the first piece of evidence that I visually saw is, well, first off, right, when you're in an airplane, you're cruising at about 40,000 feet.
Yeah, 35,000-ish.
And then they say that's about like the altitude when you could like kind of slightly see the curvature of Earth, correct? When you're in the cockpit.
So I don't know about the cockpit. What I know is that like human eyes aren't good enough to see it out the window, but like cameras are. Cameras are good enough to see it out the window. So
yeah, so so when I was younger, if you asked like the pilots for permission, you could briefly go inside the cockpit, just to like, you know, look around and stuff, like for a very short amount of time.
Wait, hold on, Ton618. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay. So go ahead,
Did
continue.
You thought I was younger than that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. All right. So yeah, when I was in the cockpit, I mean, I was briefly there and I just took a couple photos, but I really didn't see anything like, because I was younger, right? I was like a little kid, so I wasn't thinking like, oh, is it flat? Is it not flat? I just like,
yeah. So
I just observed flat.
Why'd you just lie to me, Ton618?
About what?
Since 2001, kids are no longer allowed in the cockpit during flight.
I know.
And you were born after 2001.
Yeah.
So how could you have been in the cockpit during flight?
Well, this
if you're not allowed in the cockpit during flight.
This wasn't in America.
Oh, where was it?
Oh, it was in Russia.
It was in Russia, sure. Okay. Yeah. Do you think that, do you speak Russian?
Da.
Okay. Can you tell me that the Earth is flat in Russian, please?
My bad. Someone came in. What'd you say?
Can you tell me that the Earth is flat in Russian, please?
Нет.
All
Я не
right.
могу.
Well,
Я не могу.
we're not gonna tolerate another liar. I mean, we could tolerate another liar and just grill him on it, but he was clearly lying. So, look, if you actually think that the Earth is flat, why do you have to lie for it? It just doesn't make sense to me. From Sean Hawkins with the $5. So Caller didn't fly because he's a pilot, but he flew over Antarctica. Right. That's that. You got it. Bingo. Right on the money. From Ken with the $5 exposed. Yeah, dude was just straight up lying. All right, let's talk to Loved Ban. Loved Ban, how's it going?
Hello, bro.
Loved Ban, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Earth is flat, bro.
Okay, why do you think so?
I have evidence, bro. You can't tell for early because.
All right, the giggling's giving it away. We do have some cash apps from RR with the $2. Thank you for the $2 cash app, RR, for love watching your lives every morning during work. Well, I'm glad I could provide some entertainment. And then from Shay with the $20 for use that noggin. Yeah, more people need to use their noggin, y'all. Makes me sound really southern, but it has to happen. All right, let's talk to posing as a poser potty, whatever that means. Posing, how's it going?
What's up, brother?
Posing, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I have no idea.
Okay, so why'd you come up?
I thought you were allowed to come up if you're opposition.
Okay, do you think that the Earth is? You think that the Earth is not a globe?
Yeah, I would assume it's not.
Okay, but you don't think that the Earth is flat?
I think you could. So you asked if I know what shape it is. The flat's a description, not a shape. I don't know what shape.
I'm using the word colloquially. Do you think that the Earth is planar, or do you think that it's spherical?
I'm just saying I don't know what the shape it is. I mean, you can classify me as a flat earther.
Do you think it's planar? Do you think it's like topologically planar, or do you think that it's topologically spherical?
Well, I mean, I'm giving you the best answer I can to say I don't know what the shape of the Earth is.
So
we can talk about it.
I gave you, like, there were two options that I gave you. So, okay, so your answer is you don't know what either of those things are. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
so why do you think that flights in the northern hemisphere and flights in the southern hemisphere are almost identical?
I mean, I don't know. What does the flights have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Well, look, so if the Earth is a sphere, then it would make sense that flights in the northern hemisphere and the flights in the southern hemisphere are like symmetrical, right? But if the Earth wasn't a sphere, it would be very, very confusing as to why the flights are the same in the north and in the south.
I don't understand why you would think they're identical. That would mean that land masses gotta be pretty much identical.
They are roughly identical. I can show you some examples.
Examples of what? I'm not understanding.
Of flights.
No, but I'm talking about wouldn't the location and destinations have to be identical for them to match?
No, they're not identical, but they're like symmetrical across the north and southern hemisphere. So let me show you what I mean, and hopefully it'll be more clear in a minute.
Yeah.
So this is a flight that flies from New York to Tokyo. It flies every day. It takes about somewhere between 12 and a half and 13 hours, or 12 and a half and 14 hours rather, depending on how the wind conditions are, right? Today it's taking 13 hours, fine. There's another flight, which is flown by the Qantas Airlines, which flies from from Santiago, Chile to Sydney, Australia. And this is the flight path down here, right? So if you go look at these two flight paths, they look basically the same, just one's in the north and the other's in the south. See what I mean?
No, not really. I'm still not understanding how this makes anything of a difference. Like, to me, I feel like this is like assuming the mailman would know the exact, shape of the Earth just because he has to drive around it all day.
Well, look, my point is that it seems like do we agree that airlines are going to try to fly the shortest route that they can, barring external circumstances?
No, I don't know what airlines do. I'm not an airline person.
Do you know anything posing?
Yeah, I mean, I know the horizon remains flat, which is why a lot of
how do you
people
know
say
that?
the Earth is flat.
How do you know that?
Because I've traveled around the Earth, and you know.
You've
I've
traveled
seen it.
around the Earth, have you?
Yeah, yeah,
Where have you been?
yep, around, yeah,
Just around?
yeah. I mean, you can go, you know, one location. I would say you've been around.
So,
I mean, I'm not
what kind
gonna
of
be
shapes can you go?
semantic.
What kind of shapes can you go around?
I mean, you can go around a cube.
Can
You
you?
can walk around a cube. Can you not walk around a cube?
I don't know, man. Look, it sounds like you actually don't know anything. So let me inform you. Yes, of course, airlines are going to fly the shortest route that they possibly can because they want to save on fuel and they want to save on money. And they also want their passengers to get to their destinations as quickly as they can in at a reasonable, you know, expense. So they're going to fly the shortest route that they possibly can. Now, of course, this particular flight from New York to Tokyo, it actually doesn't fly a perfectly straight path because they're avoiding Russian airspace. Notice how it's kind of lopsided over here? It's lopsided because a straight path would take them over Russia, but they don't want to fly in Russian airspace for obvious reasons. But barring that lopsidedness, these flights are nearly identical. One's just flipped over relative to the other. And so if the flights are nearly identical and they're taking the same straight path route, what we can do is we can just go pull up Google Earth. Let me show you.
This all sounds like a giant assumption, just inferring that they're taking the shortest route. When,
I mean, like, if you haven't been on a plane, I can understand that you might not think that, but that's just how planes work.
If I could finish. I know this is your live, but usually, like, people let people finish.
Well, if you're just going to say it's all assumption and dismiss the evidence, then I'm probably not going to let you finish. I'll just show you it, and then you'll run away, probably. So
I'm not running away unless you kick me. I'm just here just saying you're inferring the fact that they're going to make a direct flight when a lot of times when, like, Uber,
Right, so
can use Uber.
on a globe,
okay.
The shortest route.
Well,
no, because I was in the middle of a bit, and you just want to dismiss the evidence right off the go. But anyway, so on a globe, so yeah, it's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna mute you. So I get that you wanted to dismiss the evidence I was about to show you. I get that you wanted to dismiss the evidence before I could even show it to you because it's just devastating to your worldview. It's devastating to your globe skepticism. But the point is that on a globe, if you flew from Santiago to Sydney, Australia, you would end up flying south first. This is the straight line from Santiago to Sydney. You end up flying southwest first. You'd swing around, and then you'd fly northwest to get to Sydney, Australia. And that's exactly what they do in Santiago. That's exactly the flight path that they do. No, well, this is an actual flight path that you can actually get on. You can actually get on this flight. You can buy...
That they're giving you factual information.
Okay.
This is all an assumption.
So to be clear...
also, this isn't science either. This has nothing to do with science.
I didn't say the word science once.
I thought you... Well, I figured this would be a scientific, discussion, not...
I'm providing you evidence.
Well, you're providing me with computer data that you trust.
I'm providing you with flight data, which is useful for academics.
Data you trust.
Yeah. So are you suggesting that this that the flight data is fake? Are you suggesting that the flight data is fake?
I'm saying there's no verification right now.
Okay. So how would you verify it?
Verification.
How would you verify it?
I'm saying, why don't we verify it?
Okay. Go ahead and buy a flight.
Awesome. So can we do something we can verify right now?
Why can't you verify this? Actually, you know what? I bet you we can. I'm actually not sure about this. I'm speculating here.
It wouldn't be done in a day.
I'm speculating here, but I bet you that there is a time lapse footage from Santiago to Sydney on that flight. I bet you that footage exists on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, here it is. I figured it would exist. So here's time-lapse footage from a channel called Critical Think. He flew from Santiago to Sydney. I'm just going to speed it up really quick.
Yeah.
Here's the start. Okay.
It would have been nice if we could, verify some stuff. We're just looking out a window here.
Yep. This is a time lapse of a flight.
Yeah. Did we not get to see him like board at a like airport that says San Diego or something?
We can look. We can scan through the thing. I'm just showing you that the flight actually exists, and you can get on it and look out the window. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I bet you that we can identify those mountains. See those mountains that are popping up right there? Oops. I bet you that we can identify them. I bet you we can. I bet you we can.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go back to Google Earth. Let's go find the Santiago airport. One sec, I have to close out of the browser just because it might dox me. Airport. Now we know that he was flying southwest. So what we want to do, or rather, it's probable that he was flying southwest. So, and he was looking out the left window. So he would be looking, here, let me show you what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you
so
can
here,
definitely tell at least the left window.
So here's the Santiago airport, or here's Santiago. The airport is here. And so he was flying, if he was truly flying where he was saying he was flying, then out the left window there should be, out the left window, we saw mountains. If he was flying southwest, that would be in this direction. And so to his left would be a mountain range. A mountain range with snow on it, actually. So this is evidence. This is
airport with a mountain range with snow on it.
This is evidence that he's where he says he is. It's not definitive proof, but it's definitely evidence. It's definitely evidence.
It's definitely evidence because, like I said, you're still leaving.
It is evidence. Okay, so actually, these mountains are really, really extensive. Can you find me another airport that has such extensive mountains off to their left when leaving the airport? Because those mountains have been going on for a while.
I mean,
In fact, they're still going. We still have more mountains. Okay, it looks like the mountain range has finally ended. So we're flying. Okay, so... Oh, and there's actually even a timestamp down here. Okay, so now we're in some plains. Plains, as in like flat areas. Okay, we're over the... Oh, there's another mountain, actually. Interesting.
Flat horizon. There's a beautiful flat horizon.
I don't even know if you can say that. Like you can't even see the horizon. It's cloudy. So I'm just skipping forward a bit. Okay, so now they're above the clouds.
How the horizon rises to your eye level on a plane.
Oh, how do you tell that this is eye level? Because if you tilt the phone up or down, the horizon will move its position. Anyway, so we agree that this time lapse exists, right?
I'm pretty sure you could tell.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. We actually might have something. We might have something, by the way. Hold on. I just saw something pop up. This is actually a great piece of evidence. I'm gonna add this to my my notes later.
It's a weird conversation. It feels like it's not very good back and forth. It feels like you're like talking to chat and I'm just here watching.
You are watching. I'm just trying to get like a single frame because you can see the screen there, right?
It'd be better if you had a genuine conversation and not just...
It'd be better if you would actually like acknowledge that evidence exists. Okay, so look at this.
I mean, I'm trying to if it did exist.
Okay, so watch this. So we're gonna see the... Why is it passing over Antarctica? Do you see that? Do you see the Antarctica that's passing by?
No, I don't know what you're... No, I don't see
Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at the screen.
I don't see nuts. I'm not seeing... I'm looking at the screen, dude. Do you think I'm not looking at the screen?
I will advance it one frame at a moment. One frame at a second. Or one frame at a time.
It looks like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, man. I'm praying you don't get splinters.
So this is the flight... Can you see this in the... It's the reflection of the screen right there. Can you see that?
I'm not really making out what you're putting on screen.
Okay, right there. So right now you're seeing this is two reflections. So airplanes are, they have two windows, right? They have like two layers of windows. So you're seeing two reflections. This is...
You mean the window has two layers of glass?
Yeah. That's what I meant. Sorry. So what we're seeing is two reflections. We're seeing two reflections from the onboard screen that is currently, that he has it on, I guess, while he's recording. We're seeing the reflection of that screen. Have you ever flown international before?
Well, like out the country?
Yeah. Okay, so like, you know how they'll have like the screen that like shows your like flight path?
No, wait. I take that back. No, I've never flown it. I've flown in the country. I've sailed out the country. My
Okay,
bad.
well, depending on how far you've flown, sometimes the plane will have a, like, you can basically look at the flight path on your screen in front of you.
Yeah. Well, I
and
think
so-
they do that inside the country too, because I've seen that I've seen that as well.
On small flights, they don't always have a screen in front of you. Anyway, so do you see that right in front of us? That we're seeing the reflection of that little screen at the top here, right?
Oh, of the screen on the seat. Well, I guess you're assuming that's what that is, but it's a good guess.
Okay, so now notably, this is a reflection, so everything is going to be flipped left to right. So what we're seeing is that it looks like something is going from, you can even see the tiny little plane there. I don't know how good your eyes are. You can see the plane here that looks like it's pointing, it looks like it's pointing to the right, which means that on the screen it's actually pointing to the left, right? Because it's a reflection.
What do you think the screen is? Because I'm thinking it looks more like a movie. Because they do in cabin movies, my guy.
This is just like, you agreed that you can see the flight path while, like, on your screen. You can even see the flight details down here.
No, but I'm saying you're assuming that's what they have up. I don't really can make out what that screen is.
Okay, so now you're just being disingenuous, so I'll just address the chat. So what we can see here is that the plane is, you're being disingenuous because you know what this is. You obviously know what this is.
I gave you, it's probably the screen. I'm not giving
Okay,
you that.
so this is the screen, and we can even advance this. We can even advance it a little bit.
Bro. It's amazing, bro. It's like you refuse
Here, look,
to have
it's showing the flight path. It's showing the flight path, literally showing the flight path.
Oh, there you go. That one looks more like,
it's just the next frame. It goes between different perspectives. So this is the one where you're zoomed in on the plane and you can't see much. This is the one where you're zoomed out. And so here we see
it has a plane on it. I didn't see this.
The plane is right here. It's just small. That little thing is the plane. Now, that plane is pointed to the right. However, because it's a reflection, that means that it's actually pointed to the left.
It's supposed to be Antarctica below it. That's supposed to be a land mass.
It is, yeah, and so it's so this is very, very strong evidence that this footage was taken on a flight that was going west while it was passing by Antarctica to its south. And that means that it is this flight. There's no other flight in the world that does that. And it perfectly matches him being right here. And so we now have video proof that this flight exists and it travels the direction that we think it exists in.
Yeah, it travels in the direction. We still have so many more questions. And the problem is you're just going to assume all the answers that give you your worldview. Like, it took you so much just to even go ahead and confirm all the details we needed to confirm.
That's because your standard of evidence is like, your standard of evidence is absurd, is what it is.
I'm skeptical, is what it is, bro.
Okay,
you're very, very gullible and willing to just believe what you're being told.
Wait, so I'm sorry. Who's president right now?
Wait, what?
Who's president right now?
What's to do with anything, bro?
Just
What
answer the
country?
question.
What
Of the United
country?
States.
So now we got kicked, and now chat wants to kick me just because I'm like killing your ideas, bro.
Who's the president of the United States?
It's the orange guy, bro. It's the orange guy.
What's his name?
Do you like him? Do you want me to say his name?
Just say his name.
You support him?
Just say his name.
I'm just saying, bro. What's this have to do with the shape of the earth?
I promise it's relevant.
It's the orange guy, bro.
Okay, how do you know? Why aren't you skeptical of that?
What do you mean? What?
I thought it sounds like you're being gullible about who the president of the United States is.
No, that's like asking me if I turn my car on and you say, "How do I know it's running?"
Oh, have you met him? Have you met the president? Have you been to the White House and seen him in there?
What, you're asking? How do I know he's alive?
How do you know he's the president?
Because I don't really care who's the president, and they tell me who it is.
Okay, so you're just being gullible. Got it.
Hold on. Do I think he does what he says he does and has the control they say he does? No, I don't.
You're just gullible about who the president is, though.
I don't really know.
I didn't know I was talking with a gullible. I didn't know I was talking with a gullible Gary.
It's the person that they're signing that title. Yeah, that's not anything you have to really confirm.
Oh, you don't have to confirm it? I thought that you were skeptical, not a gullible Gary.
No, I am skeptical.
Oh,
Like
you're
I said,
skeptical? Then why aren't you skeptical about who the president is?
So is this your way of deflecting from the shape of the earth?
This is my way of proving that your standard of evidence here is hypocritical and
It's just,
absurd.
I care more about the fact that they're lying than I care who they say is liar is.
You care
Yes,
more
you're
about the
probably
fact. Okay,
the
so
globe, so you have to deflect and try and make these whole like, oh, you only care about this, not this. No, the problem is,
yeah, I mean, you're just gullible. It's fine. It's fine. You could admit that you're gullible.
I'm not gullible. You're gullible, bro. I'm
Oh,
skeptical.
oh, the classic "I'm rubber, you're glue." You got me.
No, you're the one that blindly believes. I'm the one saying I don't know what the shape of the Earth is. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I know.
That's
And
called
you look, you do.
integrity.
Look,
That's called intellectual integrity.
No, it's called intellectual. It's called intellectual
You put
vapidity.
your hair in a bun and then you put glasses on and get on a web stream and think you're
So
saying a lot of
posing.
smart shit.
So posing. By the way, I need glasses to see because my eyes are shit. But posing as a poser.
I'm just having fun, bro. Don't take it too serious, bro.
All right. So posing as a poser, which is pretty evident what you're doing. It seems like.
You call me a troll like you call everyone else who believes in a flat
No,
Earth.
no. You're just posing as a poser. You're posing as
What you never do is prove the globe.
So no, you're posing as a skeptic, but really you're just intellectually lacking with regards to understanding the evidence for the shape of the Earth. That's what's happening here. This is not skepticism. This is posing. Have you ever heard the phrase having an open mind is fine?
I don't mute people. I just kind of let them talk.
So having an open mind is fine, but don't let it be so open. Don't let it having an open mind is fine, but don't let it be so open. Don't let it be so open that your brain falls out, because that's what you're doing.
Word to try and shut your live down.
Sorry, one more time.
How many people scream the R word to try and shut your live down?
Some people do. I just end up kicking them though. Anyway, posing, I think that we're probably done here. I've presented you with wildly compelling evidence that that flight exists in the direction that it says it's going. We have a time lapse of it happening. We have confirmation via the flight data that's provided on the screen. I think that that should be compelling enough to literally anybody who doesn't think that they're a brain in the vat, but you do think that we're a brain in a vat, except you don't. So thanks for being here. I guess have fun leaving your brain open. Yeah, I mean, like, he wasn't interested in actually looking at any evidence, so. Right, he wants to preserve his worldview, not change it. And his worldview is that the Earth is not a globe. He's not just skeptical, he's not just being intellectually honest. He just doesn't want to believe that the Earth is a globe because he thinks that everything is a lie. From the realist MC with the $2, you have a lot of patience. Well, thank you. It's practiced. And from Ken with the $10, flat earthers seeing evidence be like, evidence with a logical argument, my one weakness, vampiric hisses and turns to ashes, still denies it. That's exactly what happened, except he just denied it, which was crazy. He didn't even say the evidence with empirical or with logical argument. You know what the best part about this is? The funniest thing about that whole conversation. Oh, I need to hydrate. Thank you for reminding me. One moment. The funniest thing about that whole conversation is that I am so confident that my position is correct that I just bet. I was just confident that there existed a time lapse for this particular flight because this particular flight is really, really important for destroying the flat earth religion. And I didn't even know that this time lapse existed. I just figured it probably does. And then it existed. So not only did I have like a prearranged talking point or whatever, I found the evidence in real time and it destroyed his worldview in real time. And then we found even more evidence within the video that dealt with his even further skepticism that, oh, this isn't real footage of the real flight, because we have a reflection of the flight path. It's crazy that happened. Not to toot my own horn too much, but it's crazy that happened, and he still denied it. Anyway, let's move on to our next guest. Now, Battlelogical is a known troll, but I don't think he's a flat earther, so I'm curious what he has to say. Battlelogical, are you a flat earther?
I'm not a flat earther or a spear earther, actually.
Oh, you're just a globe skeptic?
No, I actually do have like
What shape do you think the Earth is?
Yeah, I think it's like a rhombocosidodecahedron.
Okay. All right, let's talk to Jesus Warrior. Jesus Warrior, how's it going? Jesus Warrior, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's up?
What shape do you think the Earth is, Jesus Warrior?
Flat.
Okay, why do you think it's flat?
Water.
You think it's flat because water. Can you say more than one word sentences? That'd be great.
Okay, you find me the globe water, I'll become a globies.
I find you, I don't know what that means. I find you the globe water. If I showed you a video, would that be convincing?
No. I want you to find me the curved water. The curved water that stick to your ball. I
Okay.
want that water.
Yeah, sure. One sec,
don't
let
show
me
me
pull it up. I'm fine. I'm pulling it up for you. Don't worry. Oh no, it's not that one.
You can't
Here it
find
is.
curved water, brother.
Here it is.
I had to make a follow-up to this video where I wet this ball and
Just gotta mute this, sorry.
That's what you're gonna show me?
Yep. Here's water
So,
sticking to a ball.
Listen, no. If you spin the ball, all the water flies away. How
The
come
water
when
is
that-
the ball is currently spinning and the water's not flying away. It's still wet.
Stop your nonsense. Stop your nonsense. Spinning the ball with water.
It is
will spill
spinning.
all the water away.
Look.
From it.
Watch. He's dunking the ball in
Look,
water.
This guy's a lunatic.
He's
Now I
dunking
know
the ball
you're
in
a
water. Now it's spinning. It's spinning. Now watch this. Watch this. Your Joker
This
laugh isn't a good look
embarrassing.
here.
That guy's gonna show me a ball with a water stick.
Yeah,
on
it has water on it. Now look, he's gonna take a towel and he's going to dry the ball. And look how wet the towel is getting because the water stuck to the ball.
It's
Wow, the
embarrassing.
Joker laugh is really funny.
Oh, yeah, I gotta laugh,
Was it
bro.
like, were your parents hyenas? Because you sound like one of those.
Listen, the thing is, you're lukewarm. Water on a fucking ball, when it spins, everything flies away. you
Except it didn't.
dumbass.
I just showed you a video of it.
Bro,
I just showed you a video of it
water?
happening.
That's water you show me? Bro, you're a moron.
Yeah, there was water on the ball.
Come on, bro, do your best. Earth is flat.
Look,
just
Jesus Warrior, if I did my best, you would feel like you were back in second grade getting scolded by your teacher for not being able to read. You don't want me to do my best.
Listen, I did the same research he did, and all the water was pitching away from the ball, not on the ball. So
Okay, so the video I showed you was just fake?
It's more than fake. That's bullshit.
Okay, what was bullshit about it?
Put a ball in a tub of water and spin it when it's out of the water.
That's what I just showed you.
Happens.
I just showed you.
There's an experiment with a girl that tried the same thing.
Wait, so then what was wrong with the video I showed you?
Bro, this guy is a lukewarm.
I'm a lukewarm? Look, I understand that English isn't your first language, and like that's cool. I'm glad that you know more than one language.
Yeah, but you're a lukewarm, bro.
But calling someone a lukewarm is like not a correct grammatical structure.
Yeah, lukewarm.
So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Your insult is kind of falling flat because I don't know what it means.
The thing is, you can find me the curved water. Stop talking trash.
I'm pretty sure I did just show you the curved water actually.
Oh, that's not curved water.
Oh, okay. Well, was it water and it wasn't on a ball?
Hold up. Take a glass, fill it halfway, and show me the curved water. I'm waiting. You mute yourself? Don't
Oh,
mute,
I'm sorry.
bro.
That was an accident. Why would I show you curved water in a glass when a glass isn't a ball?
Yeah, but
I showed you a ball with water on it
Look,
that was
listen,
spinning.
I have the flat earth. Listen, I
It
have
seems
the
like
flat earth water
it seems like you're struggling to understand this. I just showed you a video of it happening. So, Jesus Warrior, Jesus Warrior, do you think that you're defending the church right now? Because if Jesus saw you doing what you're currently doing, he would be embarrassed for you.
Hold up. There's
Jesus
201 scripture in the
Jesus
Bible.
would be
Hold up,
so
my brother.
embarrassed
Just
for you
hold
right
up,
now.
shut up and hold
He
up.
would be like,
Hold
that
down.
atheist is destroying you, Jesus Warrior.
can't
You
destroy
should
shit.
you should
You showed
learn
me a
you should
ball
learn your
in the
science
water.
and you should
No,
stick
come
with
on.
what you know rather than talking about something that you've
what I
never heard
know
of.
is- Listen. There's 201 scripture in the Bible defending the flat earth. You dumb
I'm sure
shit.
that there is.
Go do
I'm sure
some
that there is.
research.
Thanks for being here, Jesus Warrior. That was crazy. Like, I showed it to him in front of his eyes, and he was just like, no, no. All right, looks like Xavier's not connecting. All right, let's bring up Moose. Mus?
Hello?
Mus. Is it Mus or Moose?
It's actually in Swedish. They say Musse.
Musa. Okay, Musa. How's it going?
So it's like the equivalent to Mickey Mouse in English.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Okay. So Musa, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Honest to God with you, I'm a round earther, and I
Okay.
believe everything that you say. But I
Then
just have a
gotta
question.
let you go. I gotta let you go. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't do it today. We're speed running flat Earth. AGM, how's it going?
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to click on that.
You're good. Thanks for being
Email.
here. Talk to Yeet my feet, Doc. Yeet, how's it going? Oh, he's not here yet. Yeet, how's it going? Yeet. Yeet. All right. Yeet's not here. We got a few super chats. From Icy Spin with the $2, Flurf PD 500 to Critical Think 4, that flight. Oh. Let's type that in and see if we can find it. Flurf PD 500 or wait, I don't understand what this means. Okay, I don't know what that means, but maybe if you're talking about something, send it to me on Discord. From Literally Lou. Hi Lou. Thanks for the 10 Australian buckaroos. Appreciate you and all you put up with for our entertainment. Look, it's for my own entertainment too. From Gretchen with the $3. Hashtag uncaged PhD free. Lamau, these flirfs suck. No, maybe eventually, but not for now. And from Austin Clegg with the 15 shekels. Not a flurf, but do you know if there are any videos of astronauts trying the ball and water experiment? There are videos of astronauts just having like an orb of water that's just floating in space. So like it's even better than that, but they think it's fake, so it doesn't really matter. All right, let's talk to VFX Blender Studio. VFX, how's it going?
Hey man, are you doing all right today?
I am. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I
Glad
just
to hear
wanted
it.
to call. Say what?
I'm glad to hear it. Do you think that what shape do you think the Earth is?
Yeah, so I think it's like flat, but not necessarily like round. It's like a shell in a way. So
I don't know what that means.
let me, if I explain, it will make sense. But just give me a
Yeah, go ahead.
second. Basically, if you go back into like the Roman era calendar, they had 13 months, which corresponds to like 13 scales on a turtle shell. So if you look
VX
into
Blender,
it, they took-
VFX, get out of here.
what do you no like? Look into it though. Like
Get out of here. All right, let's talk to DJ Edi Storm. I'll just call him Storm. Storm, how's it going?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing A-okay. Storm, what shape do you think the Earth is?
It's flat.
Okay, why do you think so?
Well, you know, I flew back and forth from New Delhi to New York several times. And, you know, even up that high, I still never saw a curve. But what got me was that one time when I was coming back, the sun seemed to stay in the sky for a long time. And then as we got lower at one point, I remember the sun staying in the horizon for nearly 2 hours. And that didn't make sense to me, because if I understood that the world was a ball spinning, then how could we have stayed with the spinning of the ball, and how could have it stayed halfway?
Were you flying from New Delhi to New York?
Yes.
Yeah, it's because you were flying against the turning of the Earth.
No. That's not what I'm. Not if
exactly
the
what
sun is on
happened.
my left hand side. The sun was on my left hand side. I watched it the whole time. So I
Well,
watched it.
Flying from New
Are you
Delhi
gonna let
to
me
New
finish?
York. I mean,
Are you
flying.
gonna
From
let me finish?
I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. So you're flying from New Delhi to New York. What part of the year was this?
What difference does it make?
Because
Okay, it was
depends
summertime.
It
was June, as a matter
okay,
of
so and you were in the northern hemisphere, right?
It was June several times actually, but again, I'm not seeing a curve, bro.
It
but
matters
listen, wait,
because
okay,
it
forget
matters
that.
because
All right,
you
forget
said that the sun
Forget
was
that.
on
Let
the
me
right
ask you
hand
something.
side. The sun wouldn't
Let
be on
me
the
ask
right
you
hand side
something.
ever if you're leaving from New Delhi. If it's
Say
June.
again?
If it's
Say
June.
again?
If I remember correctly, what's the latitude of New Delhi?
Bro, come on. I don't know.
It's 21 and so it's 21.68
But wait, you're gonna tell
degrees north.
wait. You're gonna tell me what I saw.
Well,
See,
look, I think that you're either
forget
misremembering
that for
or
now, forget that.
okay, we're changing
Forget
topics.
that.
Cool. Okay, go ahead.
So, have you ever been on a flat, straight, long road in the distance when you see looks like water in the far distance at the end? Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, it's called a mirage.
Yeah, and the same mirage is what people do when they think the ship is going over the horizon because it's doing a mirror effect.
No, not
So
always.
it's a mirror effect. So you're cutting
not
off half of
always.
the. Say again.
No, not always.
Yes, it is. It's always.
No.
That's what gives the illusion that it's going over a curve. It's not going over a curve. It's just being hidden by the mirroring
So
effect
when-
of how far you can see.
So
you
do
know this, bro. You
so,
know this. You're a scientist and you know
Storm,
this.
do you understand how a mirage works? I actually made a video
I
about this
do.
quite
I
recently.
just told you. Of course, I understand how a mirage works.
So what happens to the light during a mirage? Which direction does it bend?
It bends. It creates a mirroring effect. You're watching
Okay,
the
so
light
you
bounce
don't know
off
how
the.
a mirage works. Let me
Okay,
show you a
just
diagram.
show me.
One sec. Here we go. Actually, use this diagram
Yeah.
in a video that I made.
I'm going to show you what you're looking
here.
at too. Let's see if you agree with me.
So this is how a mirage works. So like, for example, you might think that you have to look down to see the top of a tree, say. You get that mirroring effect. But what's actually happening is that the light from the top of the tree, sorry, I just need to click. The light from the top of the tree would normally just go like basically straight to your eye. But because there's a difference between hot air and cold air, the light actually inverts on its way to your eyeball. And so it looks like it's coming from down below, which is what causes the mirroring effect. But that doesn't always happen. It's not always the case that you get an inversion.
Okay, so
and by the way, this is the
if
same
that
thing
is
that
the
causes
case,
the
okay,
water on the
so
road.
if that is the case, okay, so if that is the case, that means then that building, if it's on a curve, it should be leaning away from
Well, we're just
the
talking
viewer.
about mirages right now. So a mirage,
No, but I'm just saying. No,
mirage
I understand. I get it. You're
I
saying
don't think
it
you do.
refracts, but I don't believe that because when you zoom in with the camera, it doesn't do the same thing. Why doesn't it bend then?
Well, that's because most of the time when you're seeing a boat disappear beyond the horizon, it's not a mirage.
You're not, bro. That is a mirage. If you can't see that far, and it creates a mirroring effect from the light bouncing off.
It's not creating a mirroring effect.
It is creating. You're seeing it right there, and you're right there. What you're saying, that's a mirror effect right there. What you had, you have
this is a mirage. This is a thing that really happens, but they're not that common. And so most of the time, when you see a boat go over the horizon, it has nothing to do with this.
So what does it have to do with then?
The curvature of the Earth.
The curve.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Earth is spinning as fast as it is, and it's going against centrifugal force. The theoretical gravity is going against centrifugal force. Is that what you want everyone to believe? A ball, the massive ball with water, as much as it weighs, is stable somehow, right? It's not creating. We don't even have a ring around the where all forces would go with mass with something so lucid. How is it that the oceans are so not, bro? You are escaping reality is what you're doing. You're lying. You're lying to people. You're spreading misinformation. How does water finds its level? You can see that by listen, the mirage you're talking about, I've done it, the experiment on a table. In a distance, it looks like it's the bottom of it is disappearing because of how your eyes see it. You know this, bro, but you're acting as if we're crazy for questioning how lucid water works. I never seen water curve around any ball. Show me a science experience except for Globy McGlobetard's stupid example. I can't believe you used that as an example. You're a terrible scientist, bro. You're terrible. You're the worst. You're not even doing anything. You're just, what you've got here is just, you're getting paid to pay your rent right now. That's all you're doing. And you're causing misinformation. You know. So tell me, how does centrifugal force go against theoretical gravity? To show me an experiment.
Is your tantrum done?
I'm waiting for you to show me an experiment
I
where
did ask you-
centrifugal force
I
goes
did ask
against.
you a question.
Yes, ask me a question.
Okay, is your tantrum done? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, so here is a lovely experiment. It's actually like a prolifically well done experiment in my view, where they were measuring the gravitational coupling between millimeter-sized masses.
Did you measure it with your tools? Or are you reading someone else's work? Did you go out and do the measurements? You did this. You did all the experiments. Because that's all you're not showing me, man.
I'm sorry, that wasn't your standard earlier. You said show me an experiment. So I'm showing you an experiment.
You showed me a very poor experiment. You showed the whole
You
world,
haven't even seen this.
1,500 people, Globy McGlobetard's rubber ball. Is the Earth a rubber ball?
Hey, Storm. You are currently at like an 11. If you want to make a good case for the flat Earth, maybe like turn it down to like a 6. Sound good, fam?
That's fair.
Okay. So you asked me for an experiment showing gravity. You very strongly alluded to the idea that gravity is fake, that it's just a theory.
Gravity is a theory.
So right.
Has it been proven?
I'm showing absolutely.
Has gravity been proven?
So I'm showing you an experiment that demonstrates gravity. It demonstrates the existence of gravity in exactly the way that we expect it to behave.
That's their explanation. How many people believe it's just density? How many people believe it's electromagnetics?
I'm showing you an experiment that behaves exactly the way that we expect it to. Mass attracting mass. Now, look, you don't have to believe this, but this is definitely a serious experiment that seriously happened, has serious analysis behind it, has serious error correction behind it. This is a real experiment. And so,
I know
like if you want to just say, that's fake news, fine. But then you're just not interested in actually engaging with the data that's presented to you. It's just, you just want to dismiss anything that disagrees with your worldview, which, you know,
I
guess if
data can be corrupted. You don't believe data can be changed. You don't believe you can be lied to.
I guess if you have like a weak mind, you might just want to just ignore any data that disagrees with your worldview. But
okay,
this
you
is
could
real
say
data.
that. That's easy.
This is
that's
real
an
data.
easy insult for you. You could say that. That's fine. But I'm still asking you if
it is easy because it's true.
Gravity is a theory, bro. Where is gravity?
What do you think a theory is?
What do you think a theory is? I know exactly what a theory is. It's not a fact.
Can you define the word for me, please?
No. Let's hear your definition, since I'm so stupid.
So as far as scientists are concerned, a theory is a theory is a mathematical model with a physical interpretation. That's what a theory is.
A mathematical model of what?
It's a mathematical model with a physical interpretation. That's what a theory is.
Okay, so then prove to me how gravity works. What model do you have that shows that how gravity works specifically?
The model that we use, the theory of gravity that you're referring to.
Theory is not a fact, bro. You keep saying it. It's not a fact.
Category error. It's a mathematical model with a physical interpretation. Now, the way that we understand gravity these days is via general relativity. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Okay. So general relativity has stood up to experimental verification time and time again. This is verification evidence for that theory matching reality. Do you understand?
No, I actually don't understand. You know why I don't understand? Because I've never seen the test done myself.
Okay, then go to a university and ask if you can sit in while they're doing the test.
Well, you could just show us right here. Don't you have an example?
On video, no, because scientists don't usually just videotape their scientists don't usually videotape their experiments. It's not particularly common to do.
Well, they should if they want to shut people up. Don't you think that's a good idea to show these things?
Generally,
that's a terrible example you just said.
Generally, scientists are not really interested in flat earthers because flat earthers are usually dogmatically attached to their flat earth belief, and they won't even change their views even if presented compelling evidence.
No, that's not true. That's not true because when I took my flight between New York and I questioned what I saw, and it wasn't until 5 years later that I found the flat earth stuff, and I thought it was silly at first, but when I start looking at it, you start thinking like, you start logically thinking about what's going on here. I mean, come on, let's think about this. The Earth is spinning.
Do we agree that this experiment happened, or do you think that it's completely fabricated?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because I never did it myself, and I never seen it do. I understand.
Okay, there is a video
of news theory of gravitation. I get it.
By the way, there is a video of a guy doing the experiment. It's just not super precise because he doesn't have like a full lab. Okay. But I can show you.
What is this? And what is this? What is this experiment?
It's the Cavendish experiment. I can show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The paper that I was referring to just a minute ago, this paper here, This is a super rigorous, super precise version of the experiment that he's going to do. Let me just skip forward to the relevant bit. Oh, I think that you might even have to watch the whole video to actually understand what's going on. So I'll show you the result really quick. Ignore this. So let me slow it down. So the important point is that, see that laser dot moving?
Yeah.
That laser dot moving is the signal that they were looking for. And so what it's going to do is it's going to oscillate back and forth, but the center of oscillation is going to shift. That's the signal they're looking for. If it does shift, then that's evidence that the attraction between masses happened. Now I'll show you why that's expected. I imagine that he probably has a diagram set up somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Or actually, no, he has a more precise version here. Here we go. So what's happening here? I'll just pause it and I'll just explain. So what's happening here is you have two small balls. I don't know if you can see this. I can make it bigger.
Yeah, that's better.
So you have two small balls attached to a metal bar in the middle here. So you have a ball here, and then the other ball is hidden behind the big ball there. But there's like a metal bar connecting them. Or actually, I don't know if it's metal. It might just be plastic, or it's something lightweight. Connecting those two metal bars. They're kind of like hanging stationary inside this plastic or metal container, and it's a vacuum in there. And attached at the middle of that connecting bar is a string. And you can even faintly see the string there. I'll make it even bigger. Maybe you can see it. You can even faintly see the string there, right?
Yeah.
And so what's happening is that basically you have a dumbbell that's hanging from a string in the middle. And so the dumbbell can twist depending on whether you pull or push it in various ways. But importantly, it is sealed from the it's sealed from the outside. Nothing can touch those metal balls, and it's a vacuum inside. And so what he does is he takes a large metal sphere, in this case it's lead, and he basically puts it up next to one of these metal balls. It's not touching it because they're separated by the plastic, they're separated by the vacuum. It's not touching it. But using this, you can measure very, very slight changes in the way that the dumbbell rotates, because it's hanging from the string, it wants to rotate, right? And so what they do is they attach a mirror to the and I think you can even see it here. They attach a mirror to the bar, and they bounce, or to the thing that the bar is attached to, and they bounce a laser off of it. And so if the whole thing twists, the location of where the laser dot is on the end, like on the other side of the room, will change. So if it twists a little bit, the mirror will tilt, and so the laser dot will be in a different place.
What does the laser dot represent?
It's just a way of measuring how twisted the dumbbell is. That's all. Because like if you attach the mirror to the string, basically, if the dumbbell twists, the mirror will rotate, and then the laser will bounce off at a different angle.
And what is this supposed to be an example of?
It's an example of mass attracting mass. So if you just leave it alone, it'll just oscillate back and forth. But because, you know, if you touch it even a little bit, it'll jiggle. It'll oscillate back and forth, the dumbbell. Mm-hmm. But the center, so you can basically mark where the laser is oscillating back and forth between. The center won't move. It'll just stay where it is. It'll just twist back and forth, right? But if you put a little, not a little lead ball, if you put this big lead ball next to it, what you'll notice, and this is what he was showing here, is that the center of the oscillation, so the two endpoints, shifts over to a side, which means that it's not just oscillating back and forth in equilibrium. You've applied a force, so now it wants to be slightly more twisted. The middle point of the oscillation is slightly more twisted. And so that is an example of showing mass attracting mass, of showing gravity.
Okay, can you, I think I kind of get it, but can you tell me that again?
I can show you a diagram if that might help.
No, just tell me as simple as you can using simple terms, because I'm not educated like that.
Let me show you a diagram. This diagram might help. So this is like not in a vacuum or anything, but this is just to kind of explain what's going on. So let me make this smaller so that you can see all of it. So you have the two small masses attached on a rod, right? Like, see those there, the yellow ones? They're attached on a rod. And then in the middle, they're hanging from a string. On that string, we attach a mirror. Now, those two masses, they're just going to twist back and forth because it's never going to be perfect, right? They're just going to twist back and forth. And so what you'll see is that the laser pointed at the mirror, because the mirror is twisting, that laser dot on the ruler at the end will move back and forth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you applied a force to, say, one of those balls, it'll still oscillate, but it'll oscillate with a new center. It'll oscillate about some new place. So imagine that you just like pushed on it, like you just applied like maybe you put a magnet near it or something, right? It would still oscillate because it's not just going to be stationary, but the center about which it oscillates will be in a new place. It'll be slightly more twisted or perhaps slightly less twisted, depending on what direction the magnet is in, and so on, and so on and so forth. And so even though it'll still oscillate, it might oscillate around a center. Maybe it's centered around over here rather than being centered here. And so what they did is they just took these heavy balls, in this case they're the orange ones, and just put them next to the yellow ones. And they attracted each other. The motion of the laser beam moved in exactly the way that you would expect if there was something tugging on those balls to rotate slightly. And that's what they see.
But okay, so what are these metal balls, what's the material of them?
I mean, in the example that I just showed you, the video, I think they're lead. But they're not spinning. What do you mean they're not spinning?
The balls?
No, the balls aren't spinning. The balls aren't spinning. This is just an example of two masses attracting each other via gravity.
Okay. So what example is that for the Earth then? What am I trying to understand here?
Well, the reason why I gave you this example is because you think that gravity is not real, and this is like the prototypical example that shows that gravity is real and it behaves the way we expect it to behave. This is like the standard experiment. We've been doing this experiment for 250 years in different contexts. This is the standard experiment that shows that gravity is real.
I'm trying to understand. So the balls are made of lead.
Yeah, because it's just gravity cares about how heavy a thing is. So you want heavier things so that you can see the effect more significantly.
I don't know. You see, I think I get it that you have these objects that are doing something, but I don't know if that really means the same, that it's going to have the same objective. I mean, the Earth is going to have the same issues, or with things. It's not making sense. It's just, it still doesn't make sense.
Is the Earth made of something different from like the balls? Because you can do the experiment with everything. It doesn't have to be lead.
That's a good point. I see that. But okay, so this is one of the issues that doesn't seem to get answered. Like, okay, so the Earth is the core of the Earth is hot, right?
Yeah.
So why are the ocean floors cold then?
Because the core of the Earth is thousands of miles away from the oceans.
Well, then, see, when you say things like that, that would tell me that the Earth is much bigger than what we're being told then.
So on the standard globe model, the Earth is 4,000 miles in radius, which means the center of the Earth and the deepest part of the ocean is like, what, 7 miles, 8 miles deep or something like this? So the closest that any part of the ocean gets to the core of the Earth is like 4,000 miles minus 8 miles, right? So like the ocean is hardly any closer to the center of the Earth than the rest of the surface of the Earth is.
Yeah, but like a pot on a stove, the heat eventually permeates to make everything hot. So I mean, how as hot as it is, it's not adding up, bro. That's what I mean. Those things don't add up.
So what you can do is, so you can actually like ask that question, and perhaps it's a feasible question. You can ask how much of the energy that, suppose the Earth is a globe, right? And suppose that the center of the Earth is really hot. How much of the energy, like we can figure out how quickly that energy will leak out because, heat takes time to conduct across things. Like if you have an iron bar, it could be hot on one end while still cold on the other end, for example. So it takes time. And so the heat won't flow out infinitely fast. And you can basically just calculate how quickly, or how much of that energy will make it to the surface of the Earth every second, for example. And like, it's some, but if you compare that to the amount of energy that the Earth gets from the sun every second, the Earth gets like 1,000 times more energy from the sun than the surface of the Earth, gets like 1,000 times more energy from the sun than the surface of the Earth gets from the core of the Earth. Just because the sun gives us a lot of energy and the core is just really far away. It's just like it has to get through all of that rock to give us all of that heat. And so, yeah, technically, the bottom of the ocean is slightly closer to the core of the Earth. However, it's also further away from the major source of our energy. So it's going to be colder because most of its energy is further away.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I can't doubt that. It's just again, it doesn't seem logical. You know, I'm a bike mechanic, and when I spin a wheel in my hand, I can feel the force. I feel the force that allows a top to spin. It's not making logical sense.
Yeah, but when you
look,
spin a wheel, it spins really fast. How fast do you think the Earth is spinning?
Well, that's funny because, you know, I saw an example of the ISS going across the moon, and it seemed to go across really fast, man.
Yeah, the ISS moves really fast. The ISS does, yeah. Moves 17,000-ish miles an hour.
Yeah, so how fast does the Earth move?
The Earth, so look, so you said you're a bike mechanic?
Yes.
Okay, so when you if you have a drill, which I imagine you use occasionally to screw in whatever.
Yeah.
How do you measure the speed that the drill is spinning at? What units do you use? Do you use like RPMs or something?
I'm not specific about that. I'm just you're asking me what exactly?
Like just what what quantity you use to like measure it? Do you do like RPMs or do you like do you do like miles per hour for like?
I don't build motorcycles, man. I mean bicycles. I build bicycles.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
but the point is that the way that we measure rotation speeds is in RPMs. It's rotations per minute, right? Like if you look in like a speedometer, not a speedometer. What's the thing in the car that tells you how fast your engine is turning? It's not the speedometer. It's the other thing.
I don't drive. I'm sorry,
Okay.
bro. I don't even drive.
You're good. Anyway, there's a part, the tachometer, that's what it's called. So that tells you like how fast the engine is turning, and so that's it'll tell you in RPMs. The Earth's RPMs is like 0.000 whatever, because it spins only once in a full day. Compare this with like a bicycle wheel. A bicycle wheel is going to spin a few times a second. Bicycle wheels, like on the grand scheme of things, bicycle wheels spin way faster than the Earth does. If you look at like a clock on the wall, look at the hour hand on a clock, like an old analog clock. Look at how fast that analog clock spins. The Earth spins half that speed. The Earth only makes one rotation in 24 hours. So it's just not fast.
So then why is the ISS moving so fast then?
The ISS is orbiting the Earth. The ISS goes around the Earth once every 90 minutes. It's like, 18 times faster than the Earth rotates?
Okay, so Saturn, it has rings because of its what, gravitational pull, its spin?
It's gravitational pull, yeah. Not because of its spin.
Okay, but so it would seem to me, as an example that I saw, that if the Earth was spinning, then the water would almost form a ring around the Earth. Like we would have a river of water. Like if you spin something, it all, okay.
It's
So
just
have
not
you ever
fast
seen this?
enough, right? Like, and so look, that's a good intuition.
How fast? Okay, so what's the number that they use to say how fast the Earth is spinning? I think that's the deception right there.
Right. So flat earthers will say it's 1,000 miles an hour. And they say that because it sounds fast, but that means one rotation per day because the Earth is big. So 1,000 miles per hour, it's actually really not fast. The speed of the thing, like the miles per hour speed of the thing, doesn't tell you about how strong the centrifugal force is. It's the rotation rate that tells you how strong the centrifugal force is. And you can actually just work out the math. Like this is something that I would teach my engineering students, 5 years ago. You can just work out the math and see that, look, the Earth's spin, even at 1,000 miles an hour, the Earth's spin makes, not only is it weaker than the gravitational force, it's like less than 1% as strong as the gravitational force, right? You would have to spin like more than 100 times faster. Sorry, that's not right because it goes as the square. You would have to spin at more than 10 times faster to even hope to have stuff fly off the Earth. It's just not spinning fast enough.
Okay. I'm not going to waste your time anymore. I'm not going to say the Earth is flat or round. I just got questions that aren't adding up, but that's cool. I get it. I can't dispute any of it, but
Questions
thank you.
are fine. Just make sure that you pay attention to the answers when they're given to you.
Agreed. That is fair.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
being here, Storm.
You too. Thank you, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy. That went from like spectacular shit show to like actually a teaching moment real fast. So that was interesting. I mean, Storm, look, you definitely came on hot. That's okay. I'm glad that, you know, we at least could come to some sort of agreement by the end. Now, I'm going to read some super chats. Ooh. Right, so from Dylan White with the $10, Dr. Blitz, whenever you get a guest who claims to be an engineer/scientist, you should absolutely test their mathematical rigor, especially if they claim to have graduated out of university already. I usually do. I usually do because it's a super relevant point. But I'll try to do it more. From Brian Peck with the $2, thank you so much, Brian. In a 3-inch diameter glass, the drop would be 18 nanometers. The drop? Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was from the previous guy. From Icy Spin with the $2, sorry, I think that you probably clarified. Flurf paid $500. Toon updated his laws of Flurf. Oh, really? That's crazy. Hold on. Yeah, let me show you guys this. This is a big deal. Actually, this is a huge deal. So MC Toon is a big flat earth debunker guy. Nice guy. He has laws of Flurf. The first law of Flurf is Flurf citations always contradict the Flurf's claims, no exceptions. Second Flurf challenges are fake. 2 exceptions. Flurfs are pseudoscientists when evaluating flat earth and science deniers when evaluating globe evidence, no exceptions. And 4, every attempt to Flurf explain a phenomenon contradicts Flurf explanations of some other phenomenon, no exceptions. So apparently there's 2 exceptions to the Flurf challenges are fake. Because apparently Steve, a Flurf by the way means flat earther, from England that goes by Hey Dude, offered to pay Critical Think $500 to live stream before and after his flight from Santiago to Sydney. He paid. The same Steve offered to pay $1,000 to anyone that can use audio analysis software to show that Jaren said since instead of sets during a video Jaren filmed in Antarctica. He paid. So I guess Steve, who goes by Hey Dude, is intellectually honest, and that's dope. Now, Cynical sent a goat trophy for 1,000 joules. Thank you so much, Cynical. I appreciate that. And Ken sent $10. Bro was hella mad. He was super mad. He came on really hot. But, you know, he chilled out, and that's good. From Captain with the $2, quote, if I crash out harder, they will believe me, says caller. Look, he just really wanted to rant. And I get that. Like, he's been... Yeah, I get that. From Totodile Dragon with the $5. Thank you so much, Totodile. I'm in lab, immunology postdoc, working on a paper we hope to soon publish. Your guests genuinely make me look forward to unreasonable reviewers, right? Reviewer 2 is nothing compared to some of these guests. And from Sean Hawkins with the $5. Are you familiar with Blue Marble Science's Cavendish? I'm not, but I'll pull it up. Blue Marble Science Cavendish. Let's see. Oh, is this the guy that I actually think I am familiar with. I think I am familiar with this guy. He actually set up like a really rigorous test, and he was actually like making measurements and stuff. So I am familiar with this, but I should add it to my list of relevant videos to put into my debate notes. From Mindforged Manacle with the $2, laser beam tugging on the heavy balls. True, that's what the laser beam is doing. And from Dr. Fudge with the $2, oh, that's interesting. He thinks space is real. I probably doesn't. And from Turd Furter with the $5, it is clear the Earth is flat because if a car runs over you, you get flattened. Obviously, they don't say rounded. True. They definitely don't say rounded. You got me there. All right, y'all. Let me just double check, make sure that I didn't miss any cash apps. We did get a cash app from... We got a few cash apps. One from Steven. Thank you for the $7, Steven. Watch as much as I can. Thanks for the great info. I do my best. I appreciate you, Steven. And from C-Bar for Slay. I will slay. Slay your enemies. Make them. No. And then from Chad Oris with the $10 for thank you for fighting for knowledge and reason. Look, I just think it's important at this point. Like, we are having a bad time as far as reason and, you know, intellectual appreciation these days. It's just really not good. Now we also got a coffee. We got $5 from Nidisina with the message, thank you for taking on these flat earthers. I don't know how you do it, and I appreciate you. I'm left so exasperated, but all I can do is yell at my phone. Look, here's the secret. You can be exasperated, and then you can do a live stream, and then you can be exasperated at them, right? And then you don't have to yell at your phone. You can yell at the people, but try not to be too mean. We got one more super chat from ASDFGHJKL Enya. What bracket do you play in Commander? Who's your favorite commander right now? I play all brackets. I have decks all over the place. I recently made some pretty big change to my Animar deck that I've had since 2013 or 2014, which, you know, it's edging on bracket 5, maybe high bracket 4. Most of my decks are going to sit comfortably in the bracket 3 range. I have a few that are bracket 2 or bracket 1. But I don't have... I have one that's like marginally bracket 3, maybe bracket 4 as well. But the Animar deck and then my other deck that I've been really enjoying is a Grothama. I don't even remember the rest of his name. Grothama, the All-Devouring. It's a very fun card. Hold on, let me just show y'all. In case you don't know, yes, I'm a Magic the Gathering nerd. I've been playing it a lot lately. This is Grothama the All-Devouring. He's the goodest boy. There's a fun deck that I made with him. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. So we are going to call... we're going to call it a day. We're not doing any debate. We're not doing any Ask a Physicist this week. I'm going out of town next week, so I need to make sure that I have a good backlog of stuff to post on YouTube. So we're just going to be doing debates all 5 days this week. So that means Monday through Friday, debates every day. Who knows what topic we'll be doing tomorrow? So I don't have to say goodbye for very long. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more debates. Take care, everybody.